welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, it's been a bit. It's been a bit. Over the New Year's break, I got pretty sick, so we haven't been uploading over the past week. And then you got a little bit sick over the weekend. It's definitely been going around within our circles and everything, but we're both on the mend. We're both mostly back, and thank God, because there's a lot of stuff going around. In
Yeah,
the NHL.
it's been 2 weeks since our
2
last
weeks.
episode. So this is our first one we're actually doing in the new year. So happy New Year to everybody, as we can finally say that now on the 13th of January. We're able to say that. Yeah, lot has been going on. As the title will suggest, we're going to actually be finally reacting to the official Olympic rosters, even though Canada's has been out for 2 weeks now, and some of the other countries have been out for quite a bit. That'll be coming up. We've got a little bit of World Juniors news, and then a lot of news all over the place around the league and things that have happened we haven't quite got to discuss and whatnot. So we've got no shortage of topics for today.
Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff going on. I feel like just in the last 2 weeks, like since hockey's been back in the new year, I just feel like there's been just the actual on ice product has been phenomenal. I just feel like there's gangbuster games going on almost every night.
Yeah.
And man, just sitting there on the couch sick, got the garbage bag full of used tissues beside me. Like it at least while I was sick, there was a lot of fantastic hockey to watch. So that's always a nice silver lining. But like you said, let's start with some World Juniors news, because the World Juniors obviously are now over, it being mid-January. And Brundi, I'll let you take a lot of the lead on this because you had a lot more access. You had cable out where you were, so you were able to watch a lot of the World Juniors firsthand.
Yeah. World Juniors has been done for about a week and a half ish now. Another phenomenal tournament. These tournaments are always incredible to watch. It's just literally the best young up and coming players in the world going up against each other. In my opinion, aside from the Olympics, it's the best tournament you're gonna get. And maybe that changes once the World Cup of Hockey comes around. But it'll be tough because this is always a fantastic tournament. But the biggest thing from it all, obviously, is Sweden taking home the gold medal. Only the third time in history that they have won the gold medal.
I know a lot of people were surprised by that because they're obviously like one of the top 3 heavy hitters in really any hockey tournament. It's always, is it Canada, US, or is it Sweden generally?
Yeah.
So a lot of people were surprised by that.
And it's even more shocking when you take into account that the last time Sweden won the gold medal was 2012, I believe.
I think that's right.
And I was at that game, actually. Mika Zibanejad scoring in overtime at 1-0. So that goes to show actually how long ago it was since they won the gold medal. Mika Zibanejad was, the hero in overtime.
Before the NHL, yeah.
And then they went on that incredible win streak in the round robin. They got up to, what was it, 48-0 at one point? Like they went 40 straight round robin games without losing.
48?
Yeah.
Was that?
I think 48 was the final number that they got before they lost.
Good God!
And so you played 4 games,
or is that back in the 2012 one?
I think it started. It would have started after the 2012 one, because it ended, I think, 2 years ago. And 48 games you play 4 each year in the round robin. That's 12 years. So I think it might have actually it might have started the year they won the gold medal, or started the year just after.
Right.
But to go, 11 years at least minimum of winning every round robin game and not having a gold medal is pretty wild. It's pretty, but they got the job done this year. Beat Czechia, who knocked out Canada once again
For
for the third
the
year in a
third
row.
year? Like,
It was in the semifinals this year that they knocked him out. But incredible tournament by Czechia. In my opinion, I don't even know the best way to word it, but I think they played the best all around throughout the entirety of the tournament. I think they kind of came in with
that's
a
fair.
game plan, and they knew that they don't have the skill to match Canada, to match the US, Sweden, Finland. They've always kind of comfortably been in that five spot.
Yeah.
You're not down there with the bottom teams of the tournament.
The Kazakhstans
You're
and the
Denmark even
Latvias.
at this point. Um, I wouldn't throw Latvia in there anymore. I wouldn't throw Latvia in there anymore. I think Latvia has
That's right. They've been
really
very good.
proved, I think, phenomenal coaching, and it's a team that goes in. There's no pressure on them, right? They
Yeah.
go in, and if we lose 10-0, no one's going to be surprised. And yeah, Canada put up 5+ against every opponent all tournament except Latvia, 2-1 in
Yeah.
overtime. They took Canada too. So, and
Latvia and
last year they
Czechia,
beat Canada.
yeah, for the first time back then. And I those two teams in particular, Latvia and Czechia, they really do feel like those teams that they have no expectations put on them, but
Yeah,
they come into these tournaments with a chip on their shoulder anyway. Like they
they
come
come in like
in,
they're like everyone's expecting them to win. They're even though
that
there is
that
no pressure, they're
yeah,
acting like there is all this pressure on them, and that
they both feel
fuels
very
them.
well
And
coached.
yeah, and that drives them to continue to impress more and more every year. Like I thought there was a very good chance Czechia was going to win the gold medal, but it was kind of tough the way they played Canada. They were obviously very physical in the semis against Canada. I think they used up a lot of their energy, and they kind of needed to beat Canada because again, skill wise, they don't match up against Canada. But
Yeah,
if you and obviously both teams wanted to win, but the old saying of Czechia wanted it more, and I think that just translated more on the ice as you know
yeah,
they didn't really take a shift off. Like Canada kind of got caught lacking, for a shift or two here there, and Czechia was able to capitalize on that. But Czechia knew, we can't take our foot off the gas. We can't sit back for a shift or two because there's a very good chance Canada's going to get a couple on us, and then we're in trouble. They needed to be in control. They put themselves in that spot, and yeah, I thought Czechia had a phenomenal tournament. Canada obviously ends up with the bronze, beating Finland once again, so they went 2-0 against Finland in the tournament, which is always kind of nice if you can beat a very good team twice in a row. It's definitely something. But notably, the
yeah,
back-to-back champions, the Americans, were knocked out in the first round.
yeah. Nice and early, and um, I think a lot of people were surprised by that. Obviously, them being back-to-back champs, but that's one thing about the World Juniors. It's open for like anybody to really win any given year at this point because
Mhm.
especially because of those some of those outside teams coming in and working so hard. And it's just that classic case of hard work beats skill when skill doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, you really saw that with Czechia beating Canada, but luckily for Sweden they were able to fend them off. And just, man, Sweden looked really good throughout this entire tournament.
They did, and they had a lot of great players. And I'll go back to him, but I want to say that the Americans is they didn't
Yeah.
have as good of a team as they did the last years. Like I thought the goaltending was quite a bit weaker. I think the defense was still pretty solid, especially with Cole Hudson. Again, another Hudson who
Yeah.
is a defenseman and falls to the second round. Like you know, some GMs just never learn, do they? Um, the Fords were a bit weaker. Just wasn't as good of a team, and that happens sometimes in tournaments. Some years you get a run of 1 or 2 years where you've got a really good team and you win it all. And then it's like, oh, we can bring back 75% of this team next year and run it back. And that's something the Americans were able to do the previous 2 years where they went back to back because they had such a good team and a young enough team where you could bring them back. And so they go out in the the quarterfinals to Finland. As a Canadian, it's always, people, Canadians are always going to be cheering when the Americans lose, right? But a little part of you, if you're a Canadian, and you may never admit it, but it's there, you kind of wanted the Americans to win because they would have played Canada. And as a
We
Canadian,
want to
you
be able
always,
to knock them out.
you want to be, yeah. And I'm always
You want to knock
on the
out your
side of,
rivals.
I would rather have Canada have to go up against, the Americans in a potential game that they could get knocked out if it means Canada could be the one to put them out, as opposed to somehow Denmark, finds a way in there and Canada's got an easy run, right? When you go up against your rivals and you want to be the one to knock them out, and if they get you, then hey, you guys won this battle. We'll get you next time, type of thing. That's always the way I like it, but I thought it was huge for Finland, obviously, losing in overtime to the Americans last year in the gold medal game, to kind of get the redemption. Maybe they didn't even walk away with the medal this year, but they at least kind of got that off their back and, got a little bit of revenge,
They still got to
especially
dethrone the champions a little bit in a way. So
on their home soil too, down in Minnesota.
yeah,
But yeah, Sweden, very, very good team. A lot of top end talent, especially Anton Frandell, who is going to be fantastic
my God,
for the
looked good.
Blackhawks. Ivar Stenberg, or Ivar, some people call him Ivar Stenberg, whatever you want to call him, looked phenomenal. And this was a lot of people's first chance to kind of watch him play. Because, we've talked
pretty
about
much my first
podcast
exposure
before,
of him.
all the rumors that maybe he could be going first overall. He's right up in there. This was a lot of people's first chance to watch him, and he didn't disappoint.
No, like
That's for
that was
sure.
going to be one of my kind of final questions on the topic of World Juniors is how much do you think it changed a lot of the top end draft rankings? Because obviously this is a huge thing that they always look for
Hmm.
um, with the upcoming prospects. On a lot of guys can really you can see some big movement. Like, what do you think this tournament did for McKenna, for Stenberg, their
So for me,
draft
I don't
rankings?
think it changes much. Um, I'm still on the camp that and I do think Gavin McKenna had a great tournament in his own right. Like it's not like he was bad or anything, despite what some people want to throw. I still do believe he goes first. I think he still ends up being the first overall pick. But
Yeah,
I've been banging the drum for the last 6 months, and I think this tournament finally proved it. People are too comfortable throwing around the word generational when it comes to prospects in hockey.
that's fair.
Because again, I still think Gavin McKenna goes first overall, but when you watch him, it didn't scream, this is a Connor McDavid, this is a Connor Bedard, this is a Sidney Crosby type player,
Hmm.
right? And again, the whole point of a generational player comes around once a generation. If we're gonna go on a run where people are like, oh, Bedard's generational. Oh, we didn't think Celebrini was generational. Oh, but he's generational now. Matthew Schaefer, he's a generational defenseman. McKenna, and then DuPont, and then Maddox Schultz. It's like we gotta get to a point. Notice how they're all Canadian, by the way. Just saying. Um, People just throw around the word generational prospect too much. Again, I think Gavin McKenna is a great player. He's probably going to end up being a top 10 player in his prime in the league. Stenberg's probably going to be right up in there in the top 10.
Yeah,
Um, but not generational. Didn't take over the game that the way Bedard did a couple years ago, where he single-handedly won games for Canada.
right.
I still thought McKenna had a great tournament. I thought Stenberg Stenberg did. I thought Keaton Verhoff did for the few minutes he got to play in the tournament. Wish we would have gotten to see him play more. Um, but for me, nothing's changed. Like I'm still on
Okay.
the thing of McKenna's going to go first overall, but
The
people I
upside
think
is too
need
tempting
to
for teams.
exactly.
Even if some of these other guys look better, I think the GMs are just going to be too afraid to, like, unless
Hmm.
some crazy team like the Ducks end up picking first overall. One of those teams that really just picks their own guys. I
Yeah,
I just
like
don't see anybody else going for someone other than McKenna because
mhm.
they don't want to look foolish. They don't want McKenna to end up being the guy that people have thought he's going to be for a while and then not have picked him. Like,
Yeah, and I think the best way you can kind of look at it is I think Stenberg has a much higher floor than McKenna because I think Stenberg is
yeah,
a lot more dominant without the puck as well. Whereas with McKenna, you kind of need him to have the puck to be a dominant player.
yeah,
So I think that gives Stenberg a much higher floor because he is going to be a guaranteed NHL player top six because he is just that good with his skill. But the things he can do when he doesn't have the puck in all three zones is pretty incredible. But McKenna does have the higher ceiling because of that raw talent, that raw skill that he has. That his ceiling is higher. So there could be a team where I could see they have the first overall pick and they go with Stenberg because it's just a much safer pick. And I think it would depend on the team in that spot.
right,
Um, but yeah, for me, I still think McKenna goes first, but I don't think it's a slam dunk
right.
um, type of thing. But he would still be my pick.
Okay. And I do like that you brought up the whole kind of generational tag debate because it's always very interesting because you know uh, for a long time it looked like McKenna would be that generational talent. This is a guy where
Hmm.
we've known his name since he was what 12, 13, 14 years old. Like
Yeah.
we've known his name for like a weirdly long amount of time for him to still be playing in juniors. And
Yeah.
for quite a while there it looked like he was going to be that guy. But, his numbers have taken a dip, obviously mainly because he's playing in the US uh college circuit versus the CHL and everything.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. And that's a
but
huge jump in itself there for sure.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with him because yeah, there's a lot of guys lately where, almost year in year out now we're seeing have the hype of generational level player. Back to back drafts having Celebrini and Bedard, like that was massive for that injection of that elite talent of young talent in the NHL. You know, they're great players, obviously, but guys before that, Slavkovsky, Lafreniere, Owen Power, like those are great players. They are
Hmm.
far from generational though, so it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see
Yeah.
how some of these guys
Absolutely.
end up. And
Absolutely. Yeah. And I
I
think
don't
there's a lot
I don't
of
remember the
good
last time there was a
players.
winger like this as well. I want to throw out there. That when you
Yeah.
think of that NHL superstar, what do you think of? Probably Canadian, probably a center, right? Your McDavids, your McKinnons, your Crosbys, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time we saw a guy like this that's a winger, which just feels a little interesting. It just feels like they don't
Hmm.
reach that level of hype, or they're a Russian winger or a Finnish winger. It just those high end Canadian players almost always
Yeah.
seem to be a center. So there's a little
Yeah.
something
Because
different there, which is always fun.
Slavkovsky went first overall as a winger. Um, Lafreniere first overall as a winger. I think the last time that a winger went first overall though, and there was like that much hype, I think was probably Taylor Hall. And then even then, it's kind
Mm,
of
yeah,
similar to where McKenna's now that it almost doesn't quite feel that way though because the whole thing was is it going to be Taylor Hall or Tyler Seguin? It was kind of back and forth
yeah,
between the two, and but the difference was Taylor Hall was a winger and Seguin was a center, right?
right.
Whereas you look at it and there's no center really at the top. I think that's why a lot of people, and again, I still think he's a great prospect, but I think that's why Tynan Lawrence is getting pushed into the conversation a little bit too much for first overall is because he's a center.
Right.
And, I think a good example to think about with that is just think about the Montreal Canadiens when they took Kotkaniemi when he shouldn't have gone as high as he did, but Montreal was so desperate for a center that they passed up on, a lot of good players that were in the mix there. And I always just say take best player available, and
There's
it's
very,
the easiest
very
way to do it.
few times where you shouldn't be taking the best player available.
Yeah.
What, like, obviously some teams have more centers than wingers, or they need defense or something, but like,
Mhm.
what team can't be made better with whoever's best available, whether it's center,
Exactly.
a winger, or anything? So, yeah,
Yeah.
at most, like, it's draft the guy, and if you really want, do a prospect swap, and you can target a better
Yeah.
prospect because you have a better prospect of your own. Like, it just makes sense to
Absolutely.
go for the best guy in
Take the best guy and
99% of
you.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's kind of our wrap up here for the World Juniors. Again, congrats to Sweden on a gold medal. Maybe we'll
Yep.
finally get to see them repeat and go back to back. Definitely have the talent there to do so, and still young enough talent that they're going to be able to bring a lot of good players back next year. Probably not, the top guys they had this year, but again, still a very good team. And as always, they're going to be in the rush. And also big congrats to Czechia on a silver medal and dominating Canada 3 years in a row.
It's 3 years
That's
running.
that's got to feel pretty damn good for them that they are the one to knock out, the big bad Canada 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
That's something they probably never thought would be a reality for them, and yeah, it's pretty incredible to watch them. So I got to give them props for it.
I'm very interested when the World Juniors come around next year, what the running thought process is going to be on how those will shake out. Because, obviously, three in a row, that means before this year, they went back to back beating Canada, knocking us out. And we went in this year and nobody was talking about, can we beat Czechia? Nobody was talking about it. Everyone was like, all right, so we can beat Czechia. I think we can beat America. We look better than them. Let's see if we can beat Sweden. Like, but everyone was mainly, Canada main character kind of looking at it, and they'd already
Because
beat us
Canada
back to
finally
back,
actually
and
did
they just did
bring,
it a third time.
yeah,
So
because Canada finally did actually bring the right players. I think for the most part,
I think they
like it
picked a
wasn't
much
like
better roster
recent.
this
It
year.
wasn't like recent years where there was a lot of egregious choices for the team. Like for the most part, they actually brought a
Yeah,
lot of the
last
the
year's was
players that they should
brutal.
have. Um, yeah, they Czechia's got Canada's number in this tournament right now, and that's why I continue to say that this is one of the best tournaments because it is always so unpredictable.
Yeah,
When you get around to the Olympics, you're not going to be seeing a Switzerland upset over Canada probably.
yeah.
Like realistically, you probably won't. But in this tournament, again, anything can happen.
Um,
So
Obviously you're gonna love this, and frankly, most people listening are gonna love this because the Sharks don't have a lot of haters right now. Um, but I just want to reiterate that Macklin Celebrini was eligible to play in this tournament. The guy has, in 45 games, he's already got 70 points on the season in the NHL. This guy
yeah,
is well over a point per game in the freaking show. He's third in the NHL at the moment in scoring. I think he's at the top of a lot of people's lists for the Hart right now. Maybe he's not quite playing at the level of a McKinnon, McDavid, but look at the supporting cast. My God, like look at his lead on the second highest point scorer on his team. Like it's not even
yeah,
close. Yeah, he's scoring at 1.55 points per game pace over 82 games. He's scoring on a 128-point pace right now, and he could have played in this tournament.
could have played in the tournament. Yeah,
Like, absolutely, absolutely unreal season. Um, and we'll in a bit here talk a bit more about him and some of the other players named to different Olympic rosters as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
before
I
we
guess
get to
before
that,
we get to that,
we
we got
got
a little NHL stuff.
some news around the league. Wherever you want to start here, floor is yours.
Let's start with some head coach news. The Columbus Blue Jackets have fired head coach Dean Evason and replaced him with none other than Rick Bowness, who we figured
Owns
had a pretty good
coming out of
chance of being
retirement.
one of the top free agent head coaches. So
He wasn't really on my radar a whole lot, just because I kind of thought he was comfortable with his kind of retirement from coaching.
how long had he been out? Am I thinking of the wrong guy?
3 years, maybe 2 years.
I'm totally thinking of the wrong
Been out.
guy because I remember Rick Bowness playing in Dallas. Who was the coach who just got fired in Dallas?
Peter DeBoer.
Peter DeBoer. Okay,
Keep the heat, yeah. Because
that's who I
Bonus was
was.
with Dallas, and then he went to Winnipeg, and then when he left the Jets, it was like mid-season, and he was like, "I'm retiring from coaching,"
Right.
and so I kind of thought, hey, but that's the end of it. I mean, if obviously when guys say they retire, like if you get an offer that's so good you can't turn down, you're gonna take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Columbus Blue Jackets are dead last in the East now. They have fallen below everybody else, a record of 19, 19, and 7. 45 points, 7 points out of a playoff spot. I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't think this is Dean Evason's fault. I don't think Columbus has a team that is producing good enough to get to the playoffs. I think they're a team that's
it's been
kind of on the up and coming, but I think a lot of the guys that they rely on too much are too inconsistent. And is that an issue of the coach? Maybe 100%. Like I don't know for sure.
It's hard to tell.
But I think Rick Bowness is a fantastic hire for this team. But I'm curious to see.
It feels like a very temporary
what they
coach.
can do.
I feel like that's by design on both sides. Like he's coming out of retirement, but he's probably not feeling the need to coach for that much longer, obviously, having been retired for a bit. So, if he can kind of help right the ship for a year or two and then hand it off to somebody that they see a little more long term, I think is kind of the goal from both sides. And
you kind of like join him in, hey, come on a run with us. Maybe we make the playoffs. If we don't, if you want to go back in retirement, no hard feelings type of thing. We had to try something to make the playoffs. It's obviously, that is Columbus's goal. You don't need another hot pick. They need to be winning now, and
they're looking to get guys like Fantilli, Kent Johnson. Like they're looking to get them going a bit more.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna get moved, but I wonder if Kent Johnson's name is gonna be out there more and more over the coming weeks, especially when you hear that St. Louis especially is already taking offers on Jordan Kyrou. They're not opposed to trading Robert Thomas if they get the right deal. And it makes you kind of wonder if a guy like Kent Johnson could maybe be included in something like that in a move to really beef up Columbus now. And still with players like Robert Thomas who would that fit the timeline that they're in right now. Like it's not like they're trading for a player that's on the back half of their career. Like they're trading for a good player now.
Right.
And I think that's almost something that Columbus maybe does need to do because the East is such a dogfight and it is so competitive that I don't know if the roster is good enough to get them into the playoffs. And even if they do, probably not out of the first round.
Probably not. I will say one thing, though. If this team does somehow make the playoffs, I can't make an argument for anybody else in the entire league to win the Hart Trophy over Zach Werenski if this team somehow makes the playoffs. I don't think they're going
argument
to.
Would be if San Jose makes it.
Yeah. And even then I think it's a very interesting conversation.
Probably, I still think it'd go Celebrini because again, like you mentioned, the point gap between him and the next closest. Like I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure
His is the
Celebrini's
highest difference.
doubled, the next closest.
I'll see if I could maybe quickly find it because there was a post that I saw, I believe yesterday, that was going over exactly that. Um, I
But
know
I totally agree with you though. Like Zach Greinke
McKinnon
is having
and Kucherov were the only two other guys even above 20 points or more above the second highest, and then Celebrini was like
yeah.
35 or
So
something at least. Like it was
yeah,
crazy.
so I've got it here. So Celebrini's got 70 points in 45 games. Uh, Tyler Toffoli and Alexander Wennberg both have 32 points in 45 games. So all the same games played, but Celebrini is doubled.
Yeah.
And a bit more over the
Mhm.
next closest.
Zach
But again,
Werenski
the
is the
biggest thing
highest on the
is
Blue Jackets. I think he's like 13, 14 points higher than their next guy, which is Kirill Marchenko.
uh 10.
10 higher
He's
than
he's got the
Marchenko.
same amount of goals as Marchenko. They both have 16 in 41 games, but Werenski has 31 assists to
Yeah.
Marchenko's 21.
So
And then a big
obviously a
drop
less of
off
a
after
lead,
that down to 29 points.
but a
So,
defenseman. So it's hard
yeah.
to gauge. Like
But the
it's so
biggest thing
crazy
is
that we're talking about
they
those
have to
guys for
make
the
it.
Hart if each of their respective teams make the playoffs. It's so funny that we're talking about like how do you compare the monster season McKinnon's having with a bit of a lesser season, but still a very dominant season on a way more depleted roster. Like
Mhm.
it it really brings into question of what is the Hart Trophy? Is it the best player in the
Yeah.
league or is it the most valuable to their team? Because
And
it
I
seems
think
like
that's
every year we have that debate.
yeah, and 9 times out of 10, like it's actually 10 out of 10 times, it always just goes to the best player. But it's starting to become more and more of a theme of people starting to try and push the narrative of, the award is said to be given to, you know, the MVP to their team type of thing. And some people are like, no, it's just the MVP of the league. And it's like, well, if it's MVP of the league, just attach it to the Art Ross. Be like, hey, you won the Art Ross, you get the Hart Trophy with it. Because that's kind of the way it's gone for the most part. But people are starting to push the narrative of, yeah, if a team that shouldn't have made the playoffs makes it and one player clearly kind of carried them,
Yeah.
why would they not deserve, especially when they're still up there at the top of the league with other guys? It's going to continue to be a debate. It's probably going to end up, I think if McKinnon hits 70 goals like he's on pace to, how do you not give it
That's
to him?
pretty hard to argue. I think he's
People were
at plus
saying if
48, 49
Matthews,
right now.
yeah, like people are saying if Matthews hits 70, he's a lock for it. McKinnon might hit it, and he might be a plus 100 on the season.
I still wonder if he would
Would be
have been
insane.
because people said if he hits 70, he's a lock for it. He only hit 69, which is only one goal away. Didn't
It's
he
not
not
that
even?
round number though.
He wasn't even a finalist though, was he? I think he was fourth because that
You
was the
might
year
be right,
where
actually.
Kucherov had 144 points.
Oh,
McKinnon
wait,
had
because he hit 100
141,
assists. McDavid had
and
100. Yeah,
McDavid had like 130 something
you're
points.
right. Actually, yeah. I
So
think
who
you're right.
knows
Yeah.
what would happen? Like it's it's a very interesting conversation, and also like obviously they want to make the playoffs, and in reality, that is how a lot of people look at it. That is how it would be voted on. But should
Mhm.
it be? Like, what if the Sharks miss the playoffs by 2 points? Does that
And they didn't
make
get in.
Does that make Celebrini carrying that squad to 2 points out of the playoffs any less impressive? Really? Like he's still playing above
See,
replacement
so I would
so
I would
much higher.
say I would say no, but at the end of the day, it's that final step, right? It's kind of the thing of like, yeah, Matthews hit 69 goals, but he didn't get that round number 70. Yeah, the Sharks almost made the playoffs, but they didn't quite get over that hump. It's kind of that type of thing of like
Right.
almost there, but it's not kind of what was expected or like needed for that, to kind of make it a whole type of
That was
thing.
that goal that
Um,
people make in their mind.
yeah,
Right.
but with Columbus, I mean, absolutely. If they can get back into the hunt, I think Zach Werenski's definitely going to be a part of the Hart conversation. Does he get votes and how many does he get? I don't know. I think he'll definitely be a part of it. He's already going to be a part of the Norris talks and probably be a Norris finalist. Um, but I'm very curious to see what this team's going to do. You know, making a head coaching change. I think that this team needs more than just a coaching change. Again, Rick Bowness, fantastic coach, but I don't think this team has enough of the top end talent to get themselves over the hump, especially when you're looking at going up against teams in that wild card spot. Probably a Toronto, a Buffalo, Washington,
Yeah.
a Florida who's going to be in there, Montreal. I think there's just a lot of teams that are they have that top end talent that Columbus is still kind of searching for. And so I would
Yeah.
like to see Columbus make a big move and make a statement of if we're going to have a losing season, we're going to at least go down trying and not just be like, oh, eventually it'll work. Eventually this team will turn around. Like sometimes you gotta
Pull the
make some
parachute a
moves.
bit. You either
Absolutely.
pull the parachute or you got to go all in. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very interested in Kent Johnson. We talked about specifically if something will happen with him. 57 points in 68 games last year. Like he had a true breakout year, and I was expecting big things from him this year. 12 points in 44 games.
How many goals did he have last year?
24
Yeah.
this
So
year.
the thing
He
with
has
Ken
4.
Johnson was the thing with Ken Johnson though was his shooting percentage last year was fucking insane. I don't
Really?
know the exact number, but it was something that it was not sustainable. Like it was not something that he was going to be able
He had
to
24 goals
replicate.
in 68 games, so that it doesn't jump off the page there. But obviously, he might not
See if
shoot
I
very
can
often.
let's see if I can actually pull it up here. So how many goals you said he had? 24.
Yes,
So his shooting percentage last season was 19.5, meaning
right.
essentially one out of every five shots would go in. His
Yeah,
shooting percentage this season, 6%. So 19.5. Let's look at McKinnon. 36 goals in 45 games played. His shooting percentage is 17.3.
I was gonna say I honestly don't even know what McKinnon's would be at because he has so many goals, but he also is shooting like an animal this year. Like if you're hitting the over on 6 shots on a game for him, there's a decent chance you're hitting on it. Like
Yeah. And so again, I didn't think Kent Johnson's fall off was going to be that great because I thought, oh, the assists will still be there, but the goal scoring it was not sustainable. And the only way it would have been is if he started to shoot the puck a lot more. Because
right.
again, basically a 20% shooting percentage just it isn't maintainable
Yeah.
in this league. Um, yeah, maybe new head coach is exactly what he needs. I think it's potentially something that a lot of the guys on the team may need be. I don't think Dean Evson was necessarily the problem there,
Yeah,
but
it's
again,
just one of those
you have to make a
fresh
move.
faces.
Yeah, like it's like we talked about with Nashville last year. We didn't think Andrew Brunette was necessarily a bad coach or the problem, but we wanted Nashville to fire him
I was gonna say, frankly, I
because
think
you
Brunette's a
have to
pretty
make a
good coach,
change. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
it is not working. It is not
Well,
working in Nashville.
it's kind of working last couple weeks for them, but
It's
again,
been
yeah,
better.
like you have to make moves. If if the things start to go south, you can't sit on your hands for too long, and because by then you're going to be 12, 13, 14 points out of a playoff spot and you're fucked now.
Yeah,
Looking at you, Winnipeg. Well, actually, you're only 9 points out. You got a couple wins, but
yeah.
yeah, for
They've
Columbus,
had
I do like it
2
though.
wins in a row now, but those 2 wins come after they snapped I believe it was a 12-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's pretty rough for the reigning President's Trophy winners.
Yeah. But we can move on from Columbus. I'll throw the mic to you here because I know there was a couple, and I don't really need to cover on any of this much. I'll just kind of let you uh, just put it out there so we can kind of know where things are at. But a lot of the player point streaks, win streaks, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, I know you've
there's
got all those there.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that were going on. This is some of the great hockey I was talking about over the past few weeks. At the top of the episode, while we're talking about these streaks, the Jets snapping their 12-game losing streak with 2 wins now. The Sabres went on I think at the end it was a 10-game win streak, 10 or 11. As the time of recording, they've won 13 of their last 15 games. Um, this is around, that win streak starting around the same time that they started their 10, 11, 12 game losing streak last season. So, that's a nice departure from what's kind of expected of Buffalo there. They're now currently in the playoffs. The Lightning at the moment are on a 10-game winning streak. They play the Penguins tonight. The Ducks are on a 9-game losing streak, which kind of flew under the radar. I didn't know that until right before we were about to record.
Yeah, that
The
kind of fell
Ducks have
off.
really fallen off. Leo Carlson especially has, uh, stopped producing at the top level that he was for a lot of the early season. Just goes to show you
Yeah,
how difficult it is to maintain that production, and especially as a young
yeah,
player, and how kind of highlights how impressive Bedard and Celebrini have been, especially.
absolutely. And I will say with Buffalo, they were so close because a team that has won 11 games in a row has never missed the playoffs before. So Buffalo just needed one more win, and
Really
they probably would have been a playoff team the way things go. But they came up
interesting.
short, which sucks. But I'll let you keep rolling now.
Yeah. The Buffalo Sabres also announced to host the 2026 NHL entry draft at
Will
their arena.
be decentralized. It will not be all the GMs and scouts and whatnot will not be in attendance. So it'll be similar to last year, but I know there's a lot of stuff they're removing um, from it. I know
Right.
the one thing is they're not going to be doing that, draft room, whatever, where the players get drafted and they walk to the back and they do like a video call with the GM. That
That's
that was
good.
shit.
Yeah,
I
that
think the
was
NHL is putting their foot down to all the major, broadcasts and whatnot, and I think their plan is they're going to have one person who's going to conduct all interviews that that TSN, Sportsnet, ESPN, that they will all have access to use, and that
okay.
they'll just show
That
that.
that's so much
They
better
won't
than
have to
having
go
them
to
go and talk
each.
to every person. Like
Yeah, they don't have to go and do an
that's too
interview
much.
with TSN, then then Sportsnet, then all of them. Like it sounds like it'll be just one there. One
They're
thing
all
I'm
asking the
thankful
same
for is
questions.
yeah, and
So,
and the one thing I'm thankful for is they didn't go with the rumored um, first and second round in day one, and then the rest in day two. I think that would have been a little bit too much. I like the traditional. If you're a first round pick, that's your day. You're part of day one, and if you're not a first round pick, it's day two. I think
yeah,
that's fine. But the main thing, I guess, what I'm saying is they're trying to make it so it's not 10 minutes between each pick. It's going to
they're
be a
trying to
little bit
streamline it a bit.
more fast paced, and you can kind of follow the player from when they're drafted. It's not a million different things. It's one or two things, and then they can go do their things behind the scenes, and if you're a fan of that team, of that player, a lot of that extra stuff will all be on social media later for you to
Yeah.
view. And I think that's good for the viewing experience because again,
Oh yeah.
5 hours for the first round last year was
I would say
stupid.
I
It
don't-
was so
I
dumb.
I don't remember exactly what we had going on, but I remember we were at our parents' house for it last year, and there was a
No,
bit of
last year
a
you were at a wedding because I was texting you the whole time.
oh, that's it. It was
Updates
at
because you
it
wanted
was
me
at
to
the
send you
wedding.
the updates. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at a wedding, and I remember it was crazy because like, we like arrived at the reception like as like I think pick 3 was happening, and then there's, it's a wedding, right? There's all this stuff, people are moving around, people are finding their spots. There's all this kind of stuff going on. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's been a while, and I like checked, and you had like just texted me that like the 11th pick had been made, and I was like, it's been like an
Yeah.
hour and 20 minutes. How are they
It was an
still that
hour for the
early?
first
Like
for the first five picks.
it was crazy.
It
Like
was yeah.
I think
It
by
was
the end
dumb.
of the night we got home, and they were like it was still on TV. Like they were wrapping up the late 20s and going into the final few picks. And it was
Mhm.
like that was that was several hours ago. Like what? So
Yeah.
yeah, they
Speaking of
especially
the
don't
draft
need to
as
add
well,
second round to that.
The Ottawa Senators, second last in the East, 25th in the league, do not own their first round pick. So
Do we
all
know
eyes are on
that's
them to.
finalized? Or
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like the NHL
okay.
is not going back on it. So I expect Ottawa to probably go pretty hard into making some moves or something to pull themselves out because that would suck too. Yeah, you maybe they win the draft lottery and so yeah, you got to forfeit that, or you end up with
They
the
should
sixth overall
take
pick and you.
they should take their odds out of the lottery if they're in there. Like nobody wants to see the lottery come up saying, "Hey, it's a pick that doesn't exist."
Right.
Like and
Yeah,
that just default goes
I'm
to the
with you.
lowest team. Like if even if they do that, like just have their ball be the logo of the last team basically. And then it's like,
Yeah,
oh, their pick one, it doesn't exist. So this team
yeah,
wins or so like yeah, it'd be super
yeah.
weird.
And with that, it's worth noting that whatever team finishes last, so say that like Vancouver's bottom of the league right now, their second round pick is technically a first round pick because it'll be on day two. It'll be the first pick of day two, but you're getting the 32nd best player. So it's going to read as a second round pick, but it's basically the last pick of the first round. So
Yeah.
something to look at with that. If you're a fan of a team that is going to be fighting for that first overall pick, your second overall pick is basically a first round pick.
Um
What else do we got for streaks? I don't know which ones you've necessarily covered.
we've got we've got a lot of those team ones that we talked about. We got um two active streaks right now. Connor McDavid is currently on a career high 19 game point streak, um, which is currently still active. And right now, Nikita Kucherov is on a career high 9 game multi point streak, tying Stamkos's 9 game multi point streak back in 21-22. That is the longest among any active player currently in the NHL, which is kind of
Yeah,
surprising to me. Like, not only that Stamkos would have had that record, but would have had it from 21-22. You would have thought surely McDavid has one by now. McKinnon has one in the last 2 seasons. Crosby in one of those years. But no, nine games is the bar for multi-point games, and I mean it makes sense. It's hard to produce several points per game at that level
yeah,
for an extended time. So
absolutely.
we'll see how far Kucherov and McDavid's respective streaks go. We got a couple of more flat milestones. The aforementioned Stamkos hitting 600 career goals the other day in Nashville. Patrick Kane hitting 500 career goals with the Red Wings. Draisaitl recording 1,000 career points. And Austin Matthews passing Matt Sundin for the all-time goals record for the Toronto Maple Leafs at I believe Sundin had 420 or 421. Matthews is now, I believe, at 423.
He's had a very
Like,
good start to 2026.
yeah, he's the last couple of games have been absolutely electric for him and for William Nylander as well, which
Yeah,
has been
it's huge for
incredible for the
Toronto.
Leafs.
They're
Like,
they're in a playoff spot as of right now.
which is crazy
They're
how
bottom of the
people
league at one point.
people were talking about them like they were dead, like they were done, like we don't know what's going to happen with this team, and
Yeah,
just like that,
right
they
back in it.
they are right back in it. That Atlantic Division is crazy. Like you go on a 5 game winning streak, and all of a sudden you're in the playoffs. You go on a 5 game losing streak, you're bottom of the division. Like
Yeah,
it's so competitive over there. So many 3-point games being played
yeah,
amongst the
a
teams within
lot,
the division.
a lot. Yeah. Is that it for
I think that is
active
it.
streaks to keep an eye on?
Yeah, for most of those statistic ones. I got one more weird little thing in here that I know we had talked about a little bit before the episode, but a player that everyone up until recently knew as Yegor Chinnikov, who we covered getting traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It has come out that his name is Igor Chinnikov. There's no Y in his name. Uh, they misheard him. They misspell it. Whatever it was in Columbus, they added a Y to his name. Turns out it's not supposed to be there. Just it's just not his name. So I guess good on Pittsburgh for getting that sorted out. They're getting everything changed over in the on the league side, and it'll be a little weird whenever something comes up seeing the name spelled differently because you get used to it. But it's just a
Yeah.
bit of weird news on that one.
Yeah, it's something you don't see every day, so definitely worth mentioning. We've got a couple extensions here to quickly talk about. Kind of one bigger, overlooming kind of news taking over the league, and then diving into some Olympic rosters here. So we can start off with the extensions here. The St. Louis Blues signed defenseman Philip Broberg to an 8. Is it 8 years?
I
Was it 8 or
believe it's
6 years?
actually I think it might be 6. I'll look it up here.
To a extension, $8 million per year. Stick around with the Blues. I put 8 here, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might have been 6.
It was 6. Yeah.
It was 6. So a 6 year,
$6
$8 million per year extension. Um, I'm fine with it. His underlying numbers are very good on a bad St. Louis team. Offensive numbers are fine with no power play time, really. Is trusted on the penalty kill, can handle the big defensive minutes. He's young and only getting better. It's
What
totally fine
a
with this.
what just like a St. Louis ass player, you know? Doesn't that just feel doesn't Broberg there just the way he played? Doesn't that just feel like a St. Louis Blue?
Yeah,
Like it
absolutely.
just feels right. Um yeah, I didn't mind this signing and then I know we were in the group chat, we were talking about it and we kept going more and more in depth on some of those deep analytic numbers and I started really liking this
Yeah,
extension like more and more looking at it. He looks like a top tier shutdown defenseman in this league and
yeah,
them locking him up while he's still young. Yeah. Great work by the Blues.
yeah. I'm all for this one. I can't complain. Another Swede signing extension. The San Jose Sharks signed forward Alexander Wennberg to a 3 year, $6 million AAV extension. Me personally, I love this for the Sharks. Um,
They don't got to worry about
you know,
cap space.
yeah, like is 6 million a lot for Wennberg? For me personally, I actually don't think so. I know a lot of people do, and even if you do, the Sharks got to get to the cap floor anyways. So
Yeah.
this helps them do that. Wennberg, um, tied for second on the team in scoring, actually having a great offensive year, but more so known on the team for his defensive play. Uh, Great in his own end, great on faceoffs, great on the penalty kill, and you kind of need guys like that. And he's a guy that is your second line center right now, but over time he's going to transition into that third line center role. And yeah, you've got a guy who's happy there, who wants to stay there, and the Sharks are doing good. So they're this was kind of when I realized that the Sharks are like, okay, they're committed to being like, hey, let's try and go on a run this year.
They're
You could
coming
have
out of the rebuild. Yeah.
easily looked at the trademark, and you probably could have got a first round pick for Wennberg if you sent him. Because I think he's only signed. Actually, I think he's making 5. See, they could retain half, and they probably get a first and a prospect for him at the deadline to a team that's really hungry for a good shutdown centerman.
Yeah.
Right, but the Sharks are committed to winning. They're like, odds are we're probably not going to end up with a top pick. They're probably going to sell off some players, but they're also actively trying to make moves to bring in players to help them. So I think this was kind of what kick-started them realizing, hey, let's go on a run, and maybe the
It
Sharks might be done being a bottom feeding team now.
it kind of signifies that they are done with the rebuild. Like
Yeah,
they might not
or at least
be
done with the selling off and the whole.
they might not be a higher
They're
up
trying to
team yet. They
build
might
up.
yeah, they might not quite even be a playoff team yet, but they are done going for top 5 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
And they are actively looking to get better and they've moved from kind of where a team like Chicago is to a team like Anaheim where they are
Hmm.
they're trying to win at this point and I think they picked a perfect time to do it. Like Celebrini looks so good. The rest of their young guys are getting more experience. They're getting going. Like
Yeah.
they're only gonna get better as they keep playing, and more of those guys keep making their way to the NHL. Like, yeah, I think this is a great signing.
Yeah,
Like,
I think they're in a great
yeah,
spot,
I
and
think
I'm
I think it would have been great if they gave him 9 mil for those 3 years. Like the cap just really doesn't matter to them where
yeah,
they're
that's
at
the
right
thing,
now,
right? Like,
and it's not long term. There's no world where this ends up being a boat anchor. Like,
yeah, no,
yeah,
like, and it's only 3 years.
exactly.
Who
Like,
cares?
there's no risk.
Who do the Sharks have to sign in the next 3 years? Celebrini, Smith, and Askarov. Cool,
This six
easy.
mil isn't going to
We're gonna
block
have
that.
$80 million open.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the
The
biggest thing
money's
is they
not tied
just
up.
need to stay above the cap floor, so they don't have to go out and overpay on free agents and long-term contracts. They don't have to grab, the Barclay Goodrows off waivers, the Nick Lettys to just get to the cap floor. You
Yeah,
don't need to go out and grab the contracts of Carey Price and Ryan Ellis, who they just traded, to get to the cap floor. You want to be
yeah,
getting away from that and using that money to have a good roster on the ice, not having 33% of your cap be in dead cap.
right.
And so I like it, absolutely. And yeah, well, we'll see what kind of run the Sharks can maybe go on here. But with that, it is that time. It is the big meat and potatoes of the episode. What you're all here for, our reactions to the Olympic rosters.
Yep.
Oh, actually, I
And
guess did you want to touch on the Dougie Hamilton story at all?
we definitely could as well. Dougie Hamilton.
Forgot about that part.
I'm not sure how many games. Was it just the one game where he got healthy scratched?
I think one or two games.
There
Yeah.
was there was a couple games in there where was getting healthy scratched for. They worded it weirdly, like like a fully business decision or something. Over in New Jersey, sure looks like they were preparing to trade him, send him off somewhere, and they were holding him out so he didn't get injured. They also had some defensemen come back from injury, so he kind of made the room for him that
Yeah,
way.
because the biggest thing is how crowded their blue line is. And when you look at the amount of guys that have full no trade clauses,
It's absurd.
it's kind of left Dougie Hamilton as the odd guy out. Was held out of the lineup, I think, to also like you mentioned, so he doesn't get injured. But not only that, but I think also to put pressure on him to waive his no trade clause to go to a team that is on his no trade list.
Yeah,
Because again, Doug Hamilton's got I think a 10 team no trade list or a 10 team trade. Yeah, 10 team trade list.
yeah,
So there's only 10 teams he can be traded to. And New Jersey's obviously not going to retain on his $9 million for the next 2 years after this year. Contract termination's not on the table. So there's not really any contending team that has $9 million open that can fit a Dougie Hamilton. The San Jose Sharks
yeah.
tried to trade for him in the offseason, and New Jersey's ready to do it, but San Jose was on Hamilton's no trade list, and he said, I'm not going to waive to go there. Would he now? Potentially.
He might.
But I think that's part of the reason why New Jersey was holding him out. They were basically telling him, we're not going
serious
to
about
play you
this.
until we're not going to play you. So if you want to play hockey, waive your no trade clause and we'll get you going somewhere where you can actually play. And I think there's a lot of great places, but again, there's only so many teams that can fit that $9 million.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously very clear that New Jersey's not willing to retain, nor should they, because every bit of their money needs to be going into putting a team on the ice to win. Because they're in win now
they are
mode.
not. Which they don't look like it on the ice. Man, they've been rough over the last little bit. So it makes sense
They're
that
in
they're
a
trying to make
very
these big moves. And
tough spot. I did have someone tell me, and they're wondering how bad their locker room could potentially be getting, especially when you hear of how many guys on that team were asked to waive their no trade clauses and whatnot in a move to get Quinn Hughes. So they were. It's starting to get very similar to the New York Rangers, where I think some locker room issues are starting to potentially brew, and not really amongst the players, but more so players and management. Like if you
Yeah.
signed a no trade clause to be with New Jersey, you have every right to be like,
Yeah.
I signed to be here. I took less money to get this security. I don't want to be shipped off to Vancouver, who's bottom of the league, so you guys can get Quinn Hughes and complete the brother trio that you know New Jersey's probably gonna act like every other player on the team doesn't exist.
Yeah, like good for you guys for going for that, but like you signed me to a contract, you got to honor it. And I'm
Yeah,
sure I'm sure they asked Dougie Hamilton to waive for that. I'm sure they asked Andre Palat to waive for either that or somewhere else so that they could move his cap hit. We talked about before. They might have even asked Nico Hischier if he would waive. You know, if he was a key part going back to Vancouver. And
yeah.
so who knows how many like core guys were asked if they would be willing to waive to go.
And it
Yeah,
makes you wonder, is it kind of known around the Devils locker room is like everyone was on the table to get moved except for two
the
guys.
other Hughes. Yeah,
Two guys were untouchable. Everyone else was expendable because they wanted to have the three brothers together.
yeah,
And maybe if you're a Devils player, if you're a Andre Palat, why would you? Yeah, why would you want to waive to go die in Vancouver? So New Jersey can go on a run now.
yeah.
Like if you have those no moves and no trades, you have every right to say no. And if it got to the point where they were trying to move everyone and anyone that they could to make a deal happen, it's probably going to rub the locker room the wrong way.
Yeah.
Same thing as where the Rangers are at.
And very similarly to the Rangers, they're trying to get around Dougie Hamilton's trade protection by healthy scratching him.
Yeah, trying to force him to waive to go to a team that he doesn't want to go to.
Yeah,
It's the
Goodrow
exact
wouldn't
same as the
take the deal, so they were like, "We'll just waive you and you'll go
just
wherever."
waiving.
So you might as well waive. Like,
The
taking
way
these guys'
that
trade protection and kind of
yeah,
leveraging
and
it against them.
New Jersey fans are definitely turning on their GM Fitzgerald, and we already know how Rangers fans feel about Chris Drury. The
Fired
way
Drury
that
chance
the
at the last few MSG games, yeah.
yeah, the way that and it's so funny because all these teams in the same area, all rivals, all know each other very well. The way that the Devils are treating their players and the way that the Rangers are treating their players is the exact way that people for years were claiming that's how Lou Lamoriello treated his players. When that wasn't the case, but it's just very different now that a lot of people are being like, it's what a lot of people are starting to be like, they're like, this is what people were saying Lou Lamoriello was, when in fact he wasn't. And now these teams are starting to show that this is some of the stuff that goes on. Kind of some of the stuff that people talked about with Vegas for a bit. But we know Vegas has some kind of magic voodoo where people want to go there regardless.
The vibes are just so good in the locker room that even if there's a chance you get kicked out, they just want to be in so bad that
They just want a taste of it. They just want a taste of
yeah,
what it's like in Vegas. But it makes you wonder with New Jersey, yeah, when it's very clear that their agenda was getting the Hughes brothers together, regardless of what it took. The Rangers, have no loyalty to anyone. It creates a bad environment. And I don't blame Dougie Hamilton for not wanting to waive to go to a bottom feeding team.
no.
He's earned the right to say no. He's at the point in his career. Why would he
He
want to go
stayed he
waste
stayed
away
through the
there?
crappy rebuild in New Jersey. They're
He
finally
put
getting
New
better.
Jersey on the map as a destination for free agents
Like,
when he
yeah,
signed there as
like
the top free agent. He
he's
made it a desirable place for players to want to go to when they hit the market.
he was there in the bad times. They're finally getting good. He wants to be there and reap the team-wide success benefits, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Hey, sorry, we drafted a guy with the same last name as another guy." And
yeah.
he's like, "The fuck, bro? I've
That's
been
that's
I've
all
been
it
here the
took.
whole time. I've been good. Like, come on."
I
So,
think San Jose would be a great place for him to go to, and I think it's a
I
team
do
that
think
he
it would
could
fit.
potentially be willing to waive to. And I am very
Yep.
curious if Dougie Hamilton does get moved, what's the deal going to look like? Is the market actually going to get that hot for him where teams are going to have to pay? Or is it going to be something of Dougie Hamilton's just traded for future considerations? And then that way New Jersey
Yeah.
doesn't have to retain, because if it comes down to it, and because again, there's only so many teams that can fit 9 mil. And if Doug Hamilton's only willing to waive to go to one of those teams,
well, then you got to find
might
out
just
something
have
that
to
works
give
with
him
that
up.
team.
Might have to give him up for nothing. And if you're New Jersey, you could get something back, great. But actively scratching him, and I know he did play the other night.
Yeah,
doesn't
had
help
2
his
very
trade
good
value.
primary assists.
Yeah, it doesn't help his trade value to have him sit in the press box.
No.
When you let everybody know that you want him gone, you want him out of there as soon as possible, that kills the market for him. No one's going to want to give up much for him because they know
Yeah.
New Jersey has no leverage.
I think they will get something back for him, but I don't think it'll be a lot.
I don't think it'll be much.
I
if
think
they
maybe
do.
him to San Jose for a third, like maybe
I would do that.
third, maybe a second. Well, we'd see. Maybe if San Jose has somebody else's second. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And also something crazy that happened over the past few days with the Devils. They lost, was it 9-0 or 10-0?
9-0.
9-0 to the New York Islanders. And they just, it's kind of perfect that Patrick Waugh was behind the bench of the Islanders for that game because Jacob Markstrom just kind of got Patty Watt out there. They just left him in for all 9 goals, and he just got absolutely peppered out there. And
he had the worst single game goaltending performance analytically ever in that game. And again, I don't think it was his fault, but the numbers are going to show his name beside it.
Yeah,
but he kind of got screwed.
I'm just wondering, like, why did they need Jake Allen to be that fresh the next day? Like,
it makes you wonder, right?
Like, I don't even know who their official starter is at this point, or if it's a tandem or what. But
I think
are they trying to chase him out of there? Maybe there's a trade where they look to get rid of Hamilton and try and trade Markstrom in a goalie swap. Like, are they trying to do that too? Like, I'm very curious to see what direction
take the freed up money from Hamilton and put it towards a goalie. I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, because I mean, both of their goalies are 35 years old. It's a pretty old goaltending tandem, and they're getting some good games out of their backup there, Jake Allen.
Allen.
Yeah, it's not been fantastic for him, and it's been a lot worse for Markstrom. He's had a rough season.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, a lot of stuff to keep an eye on with the New Jersey Devils. Obviously, a team that wants to get into the playoffs and has made it the last couple of years, but hasn't been quite healthy. So, outside of the playoffs looking in right now, we'll see what they're going to be doing, because it's, again, for them, the time to go all in is now. So we'll see what they can do.
Before we get to our Olympic talk, which will be the last segment here, or one of the last segments of the episode, is the Detroit Red Wings retired Sergei Fedorov's number 91 the other night, which was cool to see. Obviously, a guy that I know a lot of people were surprised that he hadn't already had his number retired for the Red Wings. So it was cool to finally see his jersey raised to the rafters. You could have ironed the jersey. Did you see the pictures of it? It was it looked like they had been hiding it in a Walmart plastic bag before. It was just weirdly wrinkly. It just looked weird. So
yeah,
I don't know why they didn't fix that, but oh no. Camera. He's fixing his camera. They also had all the Red Wings wearing Fedorov's iconic white skates in warm-up, which was pretty cool to see as well. Don't know why more players don't just wear white skates, even if it's not the same exact one, because
they look sick.
They look sick. Weird.
We'll see how long it holds.
We'll see. But yeah, I think we're good to get into the Olympic talk. We got a little bit of a segue, I guess, into it because he's the head coach of Team Canada, obviously. John Cooper coached in his 1000th NHL game over the past week, and also not in the same game, but got his 600th career win as a head coach as well. So two big milestones for a guy that it's coming up a lot again recently. That it's crazy that he's never won a Jack Adams, just
Yeah.
because over the last decade, it's really become the award of the coach who exceeded expectations, not necessarily the best coach.
Yeah.
Um, which is why it feels like a curse trophy. So many guys get fired after
Mhm.
winning it because their team overperforms. That becomes the new expectation. They come back down to earth. Coach gets
Yeah.
fired. So,
Exactly.
but yeah, congrats to Coach Coop on 1,000 games and 600 wins. And we'll see. He's won championships at almost every level he's been at. Like, not getting the best coach award, but usually winning the championship. So Olympic gold is one of the last things he has to aim for.
Yeah. And it's going to be the goal this year. So we'll see if he's successful on that quest. First team we can start off here, because again, there's not as much to talk about with them, is Team Finland. I've got the rosters here, so I'll just kind of list off the roster, and then we can, go through and debate on and talk about and discuss, certain things here. Again, for Finland, there's not as much.
Right.
But once we get to Sweden, Canada, and the US, the teams that there was conversations about who might be in or out, there'll be more with those.
Right.
So for Finland, Sebastian Aho, Joel Armia, Mikael Granlund, Eric Haula, Rupe Hintz, Capo Caco, Oliver Kapanen, Joel Kiviranta, Arturi Lekkinen, Anton Lundell, Eetu Luosterainen, Mikko Rantanen, Teuvo Teravainen, Eli Tolvanen. Those are 14 forwards. On the blue line, Miro Heiskanen, Henri Jokiharju, Mikko Lehtinen, Esa Lindell, Olli Mata, Nicholas Mantipalo, Nico Mikkola, Rasmus Ristolainen are the defensemen, and the goalies Kevin Lankinen, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and Jussi Saros.
Yeah, I mean,
Team Finland, pretty much exactly what was to be expected. Like that, those were kind of the top guys, and there wasn't much debate. No
was
Patrick
there
Laine, worth noting, but I think that's
interesting?
due to injury. I'm assuming.
I was gonna say
I'm assuming due to injury, he is why he was not named to the team. I don't know, but it makes you want, like, if he was healthy or was going to be healthy enough come time for the Olympics, they would have put him on the roster, which leads me to believe they know he's out
5 hours
beyond the
ago.
Olympics.
Line A injury update.
We might find out right here then.
Patrick Laine will not be returning to action for the upcoming game against the Capitals that they have. And they are not on the road with the Canadians either. So, frankly, I
Doesn't give us much.
want to say I don't even know what injury he has, but him along with Kirby Doc and Josh Anderson, looks like are all not traveling with the team. But
yeah, so it kind
I
of
think
makes
it's
you
just for
wonder
one road game.
if it's with injuries for Laine, why he's not on the Olympic team, or maybe a combination of things. But he was kind of the only one that popped out that's like, he didn't get named. Every other name kind of makes sense for why they're on the team. Worth noting, Mikko Lehtinen, the only player on Team Finland who's not playing in the NHL right now. Played for Toronto for a little bit, and Columbus for a little bit, but has spent the majority of his career just playing in Finland, staying home, but playing good enough over there that he is the one player outside the NHL to get the nod to play for Finland. So
Yeah, good for him.
yeah, absolutely.
Patrick Laine hasn't played for the Canadians since October 16th when he sustained an abdominal injury that required surgery. So
I'm saying, like, I know he's been out for a bit, so I kind of just assumed he's not going to be back until after the Olympic break, or even if he comes back just before. They probably don't feel comfortable throwing him right into it, and I get that. Yeah, I don't think it's an egregious snub.
You don't. Yeah, if you're the Canadians, you don't want him not playing at all leading up and then going in and just playing this Olympic hockey. Like, you just came back from injury. Don't you want to rest up for the team that pays you? So
yeah.
That makes
pays the
sense.
bills. Absolutely. Um, yeah, I think Finland's got a good team they've put together here. Again, obviously hurts not having Alexander Barkov,
Yeah.
but having Miro
Who
Heiskanen
probably would have been
back
their
is
captain.
huge.
So,
Yeah.
bit of at least fun speculation we can have there on who do we think is going to be team captain? Is it Mikko
I I I,
Rantanen?
I think you either look at Rantanen or Heiskanen. I think are your two options.
Yeah.
I think there's other good veteran leaders in there, like a Sebastian Aho and Eric Haula, Granlund, Rupe Hintz. Um, but I would be absolutely shocked if it doesn't go to Rantanen or Heiskanen.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
those are
I
the
think
two
more
most
than likely
logical
it's probably
choices.
Rantanen. Um, depending on who makes the decision. I feel like they usually go with the guy who has had a Stanley Cup before.
Yeah,
So I think that might give him the edge on it. But yeah,
yeah, and the
it's a good
goaltending,
roster.
just as we expected. The three obvious picks. So
Yeah.
that will be it for Finland. Again, just not as much to talk about them as we already kind of knew
It's kind of
where the
expected.
team was going to be at going into it. Absolutely. We can move on to Team Sweden. Do you want me to just list off the roster again for you?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Can do. All right, Team Sweden. Starting off with the forwards, we have Jesper Bratt, Leo Carlsson, Joel Eriksson Ek, Philip Forsberg, Pontus Holmberg, Adrian Kempe, Gabriel Landeskog, Elias Lindholm, William Nylander, Elias Pettersson, Ricard Raquel, Lucas Raymond, Alexander Wennberg, and Mika Zibanejad are the forwards. On D, Rasmus Andersson, Philip Broberg, Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Oliver Ekman Larsson, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Eric Carlson. And the goaltenders, Philip Gustafsson, Jacob Markstrom, and Jesper Wallstead. The goalie just
So
got lit up for 9.
yeah.
He's on Team Sweden.
And the other
But
two
maybe
are the goalie tandem over in Minnesota.
Minnesota just
A lot of
tearing
Minnesota
up the
players
league.
on this team. Brodeen's in there, Eriksson Ek, like they got a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
I
I
think there's
actually
two
did
names
write
that
down
stick out.
some. Yeah.
Um, one of them being Philip Broberg, who we obviously just talked about, but I don't think either of us had him on our prediction at on the team or even as one of the guys on the peripheral. I don't think we had him in that conversation.
I'll have
But
to look. I have receipts here because I wrote all mine down. I don't think I did though.
I was gonna say, and that's kind of surprising. Look at his stats because, like, you know,
Yeah, I didn't even have them.
it makes sense that he'd be on that team. Like, I'd probably take him over a Jonas Brodin at this point right now in their careers. And
Yeah,
honestly,
I think Philip Broberg's a great pick.
I
Kind of
think it's
came
a
out
great
of
pick. It just kind of,
nowhere. Good,
yeah,
good,
somehow fell
solid.
through the cracks.
Yeah, and he's steady enough defensively, right? When you got Eric Carlson, Rasmus Anderson, Victor Hedman, guys that at least for Hedman and Anderson can play good defense, but you just need a solid, shutdown guy.
Yeah,
And if that's what Philip Broberg's kind of doing in St. Louis, if that's what it's expected for him to do in Sweden in the Olympics, I think a great pick. Um, no Matthias Ekholm or Hampus Lindholm on the team. We didn't have Ekholm. We went with Lindholm over
kind
Ekholm,
of
and then
expected Ekholm to
Broberg
be
just.
there though.
I didn't. I just the way things have gone for him over the last 10 months, I think it was just been a little bit too much,
Yeah,
and kind of damaged how a lot of people view him. Still a good defenseman in his own right, but um, I think also a little bit of blessing in disguise for Edmonton. I know
yeah,
Oilers fans are upset he didn't make the team, but I think that 2 weeks of rest is going to be more beneficial for Ekholm than going and playing in the Olympics. Obviously,
yeah,
Ekholm wants to go and play like every player does, but I think it benefits the Oilers more having him
yeah. If you
just
mainly look
resting
at
up.
the NHL side, it
Mhm.
obviously helps the team having those guys get this huge amount of rest pretty soon right before the playoffs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that'll help him, especially because he's older, he's had more injury issues. Um, and then the other big name that I think most people didn't really have on their radar to make the team was Pontus Holmberg.
Yeah.
Um, I was a little bit surprised to see him announced. I low key kind of really like it. He's been such a good addition to Tampa. I still cannot believe, with all that Marner money coming off of the books in Toronto, they could not find a way to keep this guy. I'm pretty sure we're paying him 1.5 million right now. Like, this dude has been so good for us. He has been an absolute dog on a bone. Um, his line of him, Zemgus Girgensons, and Yanni Gord has been so good to the point where they have demoted Oliver Bjorkstrand and Nick Paul to the fourth line for the past over a month at this point. And, obviously there's a debate on, he's a good player. He's a very good, he's an elite level third line player, but does that mean he should be on Team Sweden? And that's where you have to start looking at the guys he kicked off. Like, who would have been one of the next guys up that would have been on that forward core instead of
So
Holmberg?
the only two forwards that I think were kind of that I would consider snubs that didn't make the team would be Willie Meckland and Emil Heineman. But Heineman again had a good stretch to start the season off. He wasn't a lock for me. I'm kind of surprised
I'm
Eklund
s-
didn't.
I'm surprised Eklund didn't
But
make it.
when you look at Holmberg, like he's not this flashy, great offensive player, but he is just a very solid defensive forward. Good on
Yeah,
the penalty kill, good on his own end, brings a lot of energy and
good
pace
on the
in his
forecheck.
limited ice time.
Yeah,
And when you look at Sweden's roster, is he going to play in many games? Probably not even. He's probably going to be that, 13th, 14th forward.
yeah,
But when you kind of have 13, 14 forwards, you don't need them being skilled guys when they come in. They're in your top six. Like you need those guys that you can put in if some of your bottom six guys are struggling defensively or injuries, right? So I think it's a fine pick because sometimes you just need those solid defensive guys down low in your lineup, and I think he fits that perfectly. And they obviously felt that maybe he fit that role better than a guy like William Eklund did.
yeah.
It's about I can say that I'm fine with the roster where it's at though. Like all the picks make sense.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I would have liked to see Eklund make the team, but yeah, I think it's still a pretty good roster construction. I think he's a good bit of a flex pick that yeah, you gotta plug him in anywhere that you need him to in the games that he draws into. Probably pretty much anywhere except top power play and probably not put him in the top six. But
yeah.
obviously you have guys for that. You don't need that. So it's gives a bit of extra penalty killing boost. And who were the goalies again? We got both the Minnesota goalies and then Jacob
Markstrom.
Markstrom.
So Linus Ullmark got left off,
Linus Ullmark got
which
left out. Which do you think that's because he's taking a leave of absence right now from the Senators?
I don't know because even if it wasn't, Linus Ullmark hasn't been good this season.
Yeah,
Like I think it's one of those things where you're probably rolling with Philip Gustafsson as your starter, Jesper Wallsted's your backup, and you're kind of stuck picking between two struggling goalies on who's going to be our third stringer that might not even play. And if they do, it's against whatever our weakest opponent is. So, if I had my pick, I'd probably go with Linus Ullmark. But again, I don't think it's some egregious snub like people are saying because again, Linus Ullmark hasn't been very good this season.
I think they must have not brought him because of his leave of absence. If not, I do think it
Potentially
is a
could be.
snub. I'm looking at this and like they're bringing Markstrom in his past 4 seasons, an 892, a 905, a 900. This season, an 879. That's pretty rough.
The
Oh,
879, like it's is because his save percentage and goals against got fucking tanked by that Islanders game.
True, but he's still
Like
in
tanked. I mean,
20,
yeah,
23 games. One rough game that even if it tanks him 10 points, save percentage points, he's still at an
mhm.
889 then.
Yeah, that is true.
Ullmark, an 881 this year in 28 games. So more games played, a slightly better save percentage, still not great at an 881. But the 3 years before that, a 910, a 915, and then his Vezina winning season, a 938.
But that doesn't matter. It's based on now. It's where players are at now.
Yeah, but those are very good, consistent numbers over several years. And like Markstrom's worse this year and in those past years. So I'm just feeling like surely
Markstrom also being on worse teams too, though, I think.
definitely
Doesn't
with
help.
Flames, but the
It was
Devils
at
have
least
been
a better
pretty good.
defensive team than the Devils.
Definitely when Allmark was on the Bruins. Devils versus Sen is interesting. I don't even know where to
I would
begin with
say
that.
I still think New Jersey's probably the better overall team, or has the potential to be at least. But I think in terms of at least the defense being played in front of him, Ottawa clears New Jersey.
Which is interesting because
And I don't
the
even think
Devils
it's
have so many
close.
good defensemen.
But they
But
got a couple that
so it's
don't. They're just a man out there. They forgot the defense part.
yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know. To me, I was up in the air, but I was like, you know what? It's a third goalie that probably isn't going to play much because Gustafsson and Wallstedt have just surpassed those guys so much to the point where,
yeah.
yeah, if people want to call it a sub, I'm fine with it. But I'm like, you know, it's if I
It's a
just
snub on the
it's a
third
third
goalie.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
snub
third
on the
goalie.
third
So
goalie. It's not like he would have been fighting for the starting job.
yeah, maybe they
Without
took
an
Jacob
incredible
Markstrom. Maybe
streak.
he's just a great locker room guy.
Yeah,
Maybe
could
he's
be.
just going to be there for good vibes and whatnot. And they thought, hey, you know, we just need someone like that. There's a million different things. But again, yeah, it is third goalie, right? So, you know, if it was like for the starter backup, okay, totally different thing. But
It would have been
yeah,
different than if Logan Thompson got left off, for sure.
yeah, exactly, right. The defense, but yeah, I got no issue with it. Victor Edmond, obviously, like we said, probably going to be captain of this team. Um, I will say I was kind of shocked to see Alex Wennberg on the team, but again, one of the things we talked about is the center depth on Team Sweden is probably their weakness, and Wennberg is probably going to be a fourth line penalty kill center. You know, you kind of just need some of those guys in your bottom six to be able to hold it down when needed,
Yeah.
and then let the top six really fly with the star power that they're going to have on the wings more than necessarily down the middle. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see the lineup they roll with, though. That's my biggest thing from this is just how will the lines look? How are they
Yeah.
going to construct this team?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see once they finally start practicing and when we start figuring out what the depth chart really looks like and who gets those top 6 minutes, who maybe should, but just by the sheer numbers has to be on the third line, like what
Yeah,
they're going to be
who's going to be the
rolling.
guys sitting?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
lots of stuff to look
interesting
at
to see.
there that we'll be looking at over the next coming weeks. The arena is finally they're having ice testing events and stuff. A lot of stuff going on with
Coming
that.
along. We're
It's
getting there.
it actually looks like an ice rink from the inside now. It
Now it
actually
does, yeah.
there's actually ice there. There's boards. Like it's far from done, but it's like actually we have something to look at and be like, okay, this could happen. So
There's potential here. Absolutely.
which when you're 2.5 weeks out from events needing to be skated there, yeah, we should probably be seeing actual ice at this point. So at least we are.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
But
But we're all done with Team Sweden here.
I believe so, unless you have anything to add.
I got nothing. We can move on to Team USA here and their official roster. So starting off with the forwards, we have Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel, Jack Hughes, Clayton Keller, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Tage Thompson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, and Vincent Trocheck for the forwards. On the blue line, Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes, Seth Jones, Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, Zach Werenski are the defensemen. And the goaltenders, not really surprised here, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman.
You know what? Let's I think this is, out of the four teams we're talking about, probably did the worst job of picking their roster by a decent bit. And a lot of that is obviously the forwards and defense. I don't think anyone's arguing the goalies. So we'll start with the goalies. Who starts game one? Do you think it's
Connor
Hellebuck?
Hellebuck. I think probably still Hellebuck.
Because he's been downright average as of late.
Yeah, but he's on a pretty bad Jets team this year. The fall off of the Winnipeg Jets is pretty wild. And I think it's a combination of a little bit of everything.
Gauge. Like it's
I think Hellebuck's still your guy that you roll with, but I don't think the leash is quite as long as it normally would be.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely potential he could be sitting as soon as after game one. Yeah. So I think he's the guy you roll with, but again, I think there's a more likelihood that he could lose that starting job than same previous years.
I saw a I want to say ESPN did it. One of these sports media outlets did a poll of not all the people who vote on the awards, but all the guys who work for their company who do, basically. All of their guys that are part of the media thing. Yeah. And they did like an early polling on some of the awards. And one of them was the Vezina. And all of their guys voted on who, at this point in the season, they think would win the Vezina. They did their full like top 5 or however many they do voting for that. And Jake Ottinger came in second in that preliminary voting. I don't know what he's at the moment, but at the time when they did that a couple days or a week ago, he had a 900 save percentage. Like
Ottinger?
Yeah. And now he's improved it a bit. Right now he's at a 902. So I was a little surprised to see him voted second best goalie.
That was not the name I was expecting you to throw out.
Right? Like
for that.
I feel like people have kind of
it's been a weird
gaslit themselves that it definitely has been. I think, is Jake Ottinger overrated? I'll just say it.
No, I don't think so. I do think Jake Ottinger is a very good goalie. I think he's also one of those goalies that struggles because he is on a good team, so he's expected to be good. But again, Dallas's blue line isn't the greatest. There's a lot of good high-end talent, but it's not fantastic. And I think Jake Ottinger has struggled. To me, he's still a top 10 goalie in the league.
I think a lot of people,
but I don't think he's top 5. He's not top 5 for me though.
6.
Like, I think he's in that top 10. I don't know where.
Yeah,
but top 5, no.
I think that's around where people have him, and that's why I think he's become a little overrated. Just because, especially the way he came into the league, he was on fire at the start. Obviously, he had that insane playoff series against Calgary, and in those playoffs where he was just otherworldly, like 950 or something, like literally numbers like that. But in 22 he had a 919 save percentage. Since then he's had a 905, a 909, this year a 902. So definitely not bad, like nothing sub 900 there, but the way people talk about him, you'd be expecting me to say things like 915 and 916 and 914. So
yeah,
it's interesting on the perspective on him there a little bit. Obviously he's still playing good enough. He's playing well and on a great Dallas Stars team, just racking up wins. Yeah, just wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's overrated, but again, like I don't engage in conversations that people say he's top 5. I still think he's a very good goalie. Probably still the backup, I think, for this team, at least to start it out on paper. I
Yeah.
think Swayman's in that, that third, but he'll get a chance to probably play a game or uh, against whoever. Um, and so the goalies, I'm fine with. We talked about Dustin Wolf, and that'd be fun. It's Dustin Wolf not being on the team isn't a
I would
snub.
say I would have liked Dustin Wolf being
It would
picked.
have been a cool story,
I don't
but
have a problem with Swayman though.
the smart choice is Swayman. I think still at the end of the day, and there's numerous chances down the road for Dustin Wolf to be playing for the Americans, and he will at some point. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
The goalies I'm fine with. For me, with the Americans, a lot of people think a lot of guys got snubbed. For me, there's only two that I think are like, how are they not on this team?
I think I know the two you're talking about. I can only assume.
Uh, and it's Jason Robertson and Adam Fox.
Yeah.
The
Those
other
are
guys that
straight
listed,
up snubs. Like
like
there's
Jason Robertson is a top 3 American player
three
in the league
American
over the
players.
last year,
Yeah.
and he's not on the team. Adam Fox, I was shocked
They
didn't
picked
make
14
the team.
forwards over Jason Robertson. Like it makes no sense.
It really does make you wonder how much the Four Nations actually kind of hurt the build up to the Olympics. You're seeing, especially with Canada and the US, they're just running back a lot of the same guys because they're like, oh, it worked at
Yeah.
Four Nations, so let's just roll. And it's like, I feel like there's a lot of guys that got an unfair chance. Like Cole Caulfield and Alex DeBrincat didn't make the team. Both having very good seasons. Again, in my opinion, they're not snubs because looking at the way other teams are being built, Cole Caulfield and Alex DeBrincat aren't bottom 6 defensive guys. They're very good,
Yeah.
very good players. But again, when you're trying to compare the way that all these teams are being built and trying to mirror each other, they don't fit in the mix there. Matthew Nyes, again, I thought it would have been fun if he's on the team, but again, it's not a snub for me. Lane Hudson, very good offensive defenseman, but again, when you have Quinn Hughes, you've got Zach Werenski. Lane Hudson's not going to be playing on the penalty kill. Again, if he made the team, I think it would have been fun. I would have loved to see what he could do with all these other amazing players, but
yeah. I would have hated the pick if they brought him, but you can see it's very similar to Evan Bouchard, Team Canada. You can see why he didn't make it. They've got guys for that role already.
Yeah. And then Jackson Lacombe was my last one, which, again, we had him on our team. I can see why he's not on the team. But I think he's a guy down the road that will be one of those staples of the blue line. Like he'll be like a Charlie McAvoy.
Insane.
We'll be talking about. Adam Fox and Jason Robertson are the big ones that I can't wrap my head around. I've tried, but I have.
The craziest thing is that they've got all these Ranger players going too. Like, dude, if I'm Fox, I'm so mad sitting at home that I'm not going when I'm clearly the best player on my team, at the very least, the best skater on my team, if you want to count goalies. But fucking Vinny Trocheck and JT Miller both get to go. Are you kidding me? I'd be so mad if I was him, dude. Neither of those guys should be going over him. Obviously, it's forwards versus defense, but that's brutal. And that some of the forwards picks are guys, in a way, almost make the DeBrincats, the Jason, obviously Jason Robertson, but like the DeBrincats of the world feel more like snubs. Like if they just didn't make the team, I wouldn't think they're a snub. But you got passed over for Brock Nelson, Vinny Trocheck, JT Miller. Like when you put that in perspective, it feels more
Vincent
like
Trocheck than most people. Like Vincent Trocheck, I think makes sense. He's been producing very well consistently for the Rangers the last few years, and also puts up good defensive numbers. Like he's one of those guys that you can trust in a bottom 6
as well
center role that you're also like, we can actually get some offensive production out of him. It is the Brock Nelson who really struggled in the Four Nations, JT Miller who struggled in the Four Nations and hasn't been off to a very good start. It's those two picks that makes me be like, what are we doing here? But
Yeah.
again, maybe the problem with the Americans is they're just their forwards are just too stacked. Like, say you take out Brock Nelson and JT Miller, all right, and you bring Jason Robertson and Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah.
Who are your healthy scratches? Clayton Keller and DeBrincat? Are those your 13, 14th forwards? Or is it
Probably
DeBrincat and Tage Thompson?
it's probably a rotating cast of
Kyle
DeBrincat,
Connor?
DeBrincat, Trocheck, maybe a Dylan
But
Larkin
see, I think
sometimes.
I
Like
think you need a guy like Trocheck and Larkin. Like, I think those are perfect for your
you definitely play
third
in them,
and
but
fourth line
like
centers.
the guys that you're rolling through on that fourth
Hmm.
line, like you're not
I guess, yeah.
like you're not healthy scratching Matthews for a game or something.
Mhm.
Well, maybe you
Maybe.
do
You
depending on
should have picked
injuries.
any other
But like,
player. You should have
yeah,
picked any
I
other
was gonna
player.
say, oh yeah, you know what I'm getting at. I
Yeah.
still can't believe they healthy scratch Kyle Connor ever. Like that's like your first line guy, and that seems kind of obvious to me. Like I don't know how
Could you imagine if they brought
that
back
guy's
Chris
in the
Kreider?
conversation,
The Americans brought back Chris
right?
Kreider.
Like
So I do get what you're saying. Vincent Trocheck for me, I think is totally fine on this team. It is the JT Miller and Brock Nelson. I'm like, if there was no Four Nations, they're probably not on the team. But
yeah,
because they were a part of that Four Nations team, it's just easy to run it back with them. Which is mind blowing though, considering it means Jason Robertson gets left off. And the one thing I will say, I think because we knew that Jason Robertson wasn't making it before the team even got announced. Like, it was
yeah,
leaked like a week before. I think they purposely leaked it to spread the outrage across
yeah.
a span of time, as opposed to just everybody finding out all at once and having it all blow up at once. I think they purposely leaked it to let it blow over by the time that the roster came out. People are like, "Oh, we
Yeah,
knew he wasn't making it," so
I
there
think you're
wasn't as
100% right.
much outrage all at once. And I think it's very shitty. I think it's unfair to Jason Robertson. I don't know what more he has to do to make the team, um, but that's wild. It's insane.
I don't think a lot of people will love this take. And don't get me wrong, I would love to have this player on my team. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think this guy, I believe I've touched on this point in the past, but I think this guy is too stapled to this team for his skill level. And that's Brady Kachuk. Um, in reality, we all know both the Kachucks are going because if nothing else, it's marketable to the 100th degree, right?
Mhm.
Like they're going to market him the same amount Team Canada's going to market Nathan McKinnon. Um,
Yeah.
but as far as legitimate skill goes, you were, I mean, you just said yourself, like, who are we scratching? Dylan
Yeah.
Larkin, Kyle Connor. Like, I think both of those guys are better hockey players than Brady Kachuk is. They don't beat the shit out of their opponents the same way
They're
he
not as
does on a regular
physical.
basis.
Yeah.
But
No, that's
he, he's not offensively on the same level as the majority of the team. And yeah, he brings a physical presence, but like a lot of this team does. Like, I think a
mhm.
lot of people are looking at this team like, man, those heavy guys they have up front, both Kachucks and JT Miller. And it's like, I don't think their strength is that they have some really big bastards up front. It's the fact that kind of the whole forward core plays like that. Like
Mhm.
they've got a couple smaller guys in particular that don't, but they didn't bring a lot of those guys as well. The Cole Caulfields and the Brinkets. Like, you
Mhm.
know, underratedly, Matthews is a big dude. Matthews is a big dude. Tage Thompson. I had no idea until we brought him in that Jake Gensel plays kind of like a prick a decent bit. He is not afraid to get in there. Like they have Jack Eichel. A lot of these guys are not afraid to throw the body a decent bit. They're not Tom Wilsons, but it's a lot different than your forward core being,
Yeah.
the
No, I get what you're
Connor
saying though.
McDavid and
Absolutely.
Sidney Crosby and Braden Point, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just glad you didn't go after Matt Boldy because I was not going to stand for that. So I'm glad you went after Brady Kachuk because I do get what you're saying. Yeah, he's stapled to the team. Probably gonna be playing in every game. But I do agree. Yeah, in terms of skill level, there's There's quite a few guys I think
it at least should have been on
surpassed
people's
him.
radars, I think,
Mhm.
But I think it wasn't
100%.
because people knew that the name value of it all. Like, he's not going to hurt the team by being there, and he's going to bring eyes to the product for sure.
Yeah. With the blue line, Brock Faber is fine. Quinn Hughes, fine. Seth Jones, for me, fine. Charlie McAvoy, Sanderson, Slavin, Werenski, all fine. The one people are upset about is like Noah Hannafin and Seth Jones.
Yeah.
I will say up until 5 seconds before we did our official, predictions for Team S, I had Seth Jones on my team.
Yeah.
Because I said it from the beginning when he got traded to Florida. I said he is finally going somewhere where he doesn't have to be the number one guy playing in every situation, all this pressure on him, and relied to do everything. He can be a second pair guy, get some power play time and whatnot, and be effective. And he has been absolutely fantastic and more than anyone could have ever imagined in Florida. And is it because it's because he went to Florida of all teams, or is it because there's no pressure on him? Regardless, we're seeing how good of a defenseman Seth Jones can really be. Contract aside, not just looking at him as a player. I think he has earned his way.
The Olympics.
Yeah, I think he's earned his way on the team. I have no issues. But Noah Hannafin has struggled this year with Vegas.
Yeah.
I think love to the point that you go with Hannafin over Adam Fox. It's not even that I think Hannafin's like shit or anything, but it's literally you put him down.
It's a high
because because Noah Hannafin's kind of the odd guy out here for me. So basically, you take Noah Hannafin, and who's the biggest snub on the blue line? Adam Fox. You tell me.
Yeah, like Fox should have easily been there over Jones and Hannafin. Frankly, I'd have him over a couple of the other guys. I'd have him over Faber. I might even have him over McAvoy. Like I would have him over Faber. He's a top 10 defenseman in the league. Like the fact that he can't make his country's team is absurd.
It's also worth noting is Zach Werenski left-handed or right-handed? He's a lefty, isn't he? Yeah, he's a lefty.
I think
they only went with 3 right-handed defensemen: Brock Faber, Seth Jones, and Charlie McAvoy. So assuming, because again, don't know for sure, but assuming, because I like the traditional, you run 3 right-hand defensemen, you run 3 left-hand defensemen. Does that mean they're going to be looking at, so say Noah Hannafin probably scratched most games. Does that mean you're looking at Quinn Hughes, Jake Sanderson, Slavin, and Werenski and being like, we got to scratch one of you? I mean, it's probably Jake Sanderson, but like...
Probably Sanderson.
But like,
yeah.
Fuck. Shows how stacked their blue line is. And that's even leaving Adam Fox at home.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that Fox needed to be there. Hannafin easily comes off. If it were up to me, I think I'd go Seth Jones off, but I don't think he was like a reach or anything. I would have had him off in favor of either a Jackson Lacombe or a Lane Hudson, depending on what. For me,
it would only be again. But a lot of people think I'm a Lane Hudson hater, but it's just
not a depth pick.
What does he do? You're not going to put him on the power play over Quinn Hughes. You're not going to put him on the power play over Zach Werenski. You're not going to put him on the penalty kill. So
no, but he could still play very well 5-on-5
in a third pairing role with no special team. It just doesn't seem worth it when you can bring a solid. When your third pair can be a solid of a Jake Sanderson and a Adam Fox, as it should have been. But
yeah, I mean, I think
am fine with.
He's one of those guys that would just rotate into those roles with some scratches. You don't need everyone to play every game. You get, you play him mostly at 5-on-5, and then
you might if you only bring 3 right-handed defensemen.
Yeah, like
that's the way they want to run their team. I mean,
maybe Werenski sits out a game, and then you get some PP2 time for him somewhere in there against Team Germany. Like something like that. But
I mean, I guess, but It's just really Adam Fox for me. That like the other ones, I'm like, yeah, you can make the argument, but for me,
Those,
it's just like
those are
Adam
just like
Fox
making
should.
arguments for who could have made the team. The only one that's an actual snub on the blue line is Adam Fox. He 100%.
And then on the forwards, the only one is Jason Robertson.
Yeah, those two are.
I think there's other ways they could have done the forwards completely, but
those two should have been staple to this team. It shouldn't even have been a conversation we were having, frankly.
There's
And the
arguments
fact that they both got left off.
should have been guys named during the summer as locks to be on the team.
100%.
And now they're not even on the team. Like it's
Adam Fox has a Norris Trophy.
And I think we're at the point where and again, I'm not hoping this happens. I never want to see players get injured. But there's a world where JT Miller gets injured and Charlie McAvoy gets injured and can't go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance they don't take Robertson or Fox given the second chance to take them. Like, I think they are so locked in on, we are not taking you. We don't want you for whatever reason.
I feel like Jason Robertson could, if there's one or two injuries to the forwards. Just because the other next guys up are guys like DeBrincat and Caulfield, who are smaller, and as much as they don't like Robertson, they seem to hate undersized guys more.
Yeah, that's true. They probably just call it Chris Kreider though. And say, hey, let's run it back.
The way that they told Adam Fox he wouldn't be on the team, and I've heard nothing about him being notified as a injury relief guy.
Yeah.
That it gives me the feeling that he's like their 13th defenseman in their eyes or something. Like, I feel like a Jackson Lacombe. I feel like Lane Hudson goes in if somebody gets injured. If another guy gets injured, it's Jackson Lacombe. And like, man, I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot of Rangers front office in that Team USA front office as well. It's a lot of overlap. So I don't know why they seemingly hate their franchise defenseman.
Yeah.
It's a very, very confusing situation.
Last thing I'll say on it is Adam Fox can force his way to the Rangers, but he can't force his way to get on the team. So
apparently not.
Maybe it's a tough lesson to be learned at the end of the day.
Team
wrap
Canada?
it up here, Team Canada. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here with Team Canada, and we can get on out of here, and we can get this up for the lovely people sooner rather than later. So we'll kick it off here with the.
It's a bit of a longer episode, but we missed
first one in 2 weeks, so
yeah, missed a week for Christmas and New Year's, and then missed another week due to sickness. So nice long one there.
So start with the forwards. We got Macklin Celebrini, Anthony Cirelli, Sidney Crosby, Brandon Hagel, Bo Horvat, Brad Marchand, Mitch Marner, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Braden Point, Sam Reinhart, Mark Stone, Nick Suzuki, and Tom Wilson are the forwards. The defense, exact same as Four Nations. Drew Doughty, Thomas Harley, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayko, Travis Sanheim, Shea Theodore, Devon Taves. And the goalies, Jordan Binnington, Darcy Kemper, Logan Thompson. I'll kickstart it off early and I'll say it. Goaltending's fine.
I like the goaltending picks.
I know people want Wedgwood and Blackwood, but you don't need them. You took Logan Thompson, which was the biggest thing.
That was the biggest thing. I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought they were going to fuck it up, and I'm so glad they didn't.
I was worried they might.
A lot of people still very much do not like the Binnington pickup because
he's having a very rough year.
But he's won best on best for Team Canada in the past.
Yeah,
less than a year ago, and that had to be rewarded. And he owned that final game, especially in overtime, and he earned his way to getting onto this team by doing that. So it was never in question. And I don't know who's going to end up being the starter. I don't know how much they're going to ride. I think there's going to be a lot more goalie swapping here than some other teams might. I think they're going to try and figure out who's going to grab the ball and run with it. But I think Binnington gets first crack at it when game
and then
one
you
hits.
Go from there. Absolutely. We do know there's potentially some stuff going on with some players from Canada that might not play. If you want to let us know what's going on there with those.
Yeah, so Devon
especially
Taves,
the one injury one as well.
Yeah, Devon Taves has announced that he will not play uh, if his child has not been born yet before the tournament begins. His wife is pregnant and getting more pregnant, and they don't know if the baby will be there by the time that the Olympics are happening. And obviously, you get the phone call that she's in labor. You can't fly home from Milan, Italy, to Colorado in time.
Yeah,
So he's gonna, if the baby isn't there by the time the team's leaving, he's gonna stick around.
the due date's
Maybe
expected around the time the tournament starts, so it's very,
very up in the
very up in
air.
the air. Very up in the
They
air.
they might have the baby a couple days into the tournament, and maybe he ends up getting in for some of the later games. Who knows? He hasn't really, he didn't go into insane detail on his plans, so we don't know if that'll be the case. But
It's a 50-50. It really
it
is
really is.
for Devon Taves.
Um,
And then the
and
other
then
one,
Braden Point suffered an injury to his knee last night against the Flyers, scoring a
it didn't
goal
look
on the
good.
play.
It didn't look good.
It didn't look good, but the way he left the ice was a bit better than I originally thought, because he goes down, and I believe it's Travis Sanheim who's also on this team. Actually, no, I think it was Cam York.
Yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it was
it
York, but I
was
think Sanheim fought afterwards or
It
got
was
into
a
it.
very unfortunate move where Point and York's legs got tied up in an awkward way where they were both off balance. Then Point makes a move to the side, and the reason he was able to get around the goalie and score on the play was because uh, whoever the goalie was, I think Dan Vladar that game, went for a poke check, and he missed the puck, but he poke checked Cam York's skate. So they're both off balance and tied up. So he hits out his defenseman's skate. So now the defenseman falls, and he falls awkwardly on a kind of twisted knee for Point. They go
Mhm.
down. His body weight clearly on Point's knee. The way Point shaked his gloves off super quick to grab at his knee looked really bad. Did not like that. Um, he seemed pretty composed though after that, which gave me a little hope that, if you, especially with a guy full body weight, full grown ass man falling on your knee, you're gonna be like, oh shit, I hope my knee doesn't fucking explode. Um, so I'm hoping that he was a little more scared in the moment than actual severity of it. Obviously, that's a lot of hope. Like Braden Point is my favorite active player in the NHL. Um,
Do
so
you
I'm
know what it kind of reminded me of?
hoping he's all
The
right.
reaction
What's that?
is when Stamkos ran into the net and broke his leg on the one play. That was
A
kind of my
little
main
bit.
thing with like the gloves and just like I was like,
I did.
but
I would.
again, like
The way he threw
no
the gloves off
update
was brutal. He
has
needed
been
help off
given.
the ice. He's traveling with the team to Pittsburgh. They're on a second half of a back to back tonight. He's going with the team.
No
That
chance he plays though. Like
oh
no
oh
chance.
absolutely not, absolutely not. But the fact that he's not immediately being flown back to Tampa for
Temp-
surgery
Yeah,
is
is at
is the
least a
main
good
thing.
sign there. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So it is something to keep an eye on with it. As Point is expected to be a big part of
yeah.
Canada's either
Obviously, didn't return to the
top
game.
six or top nine. Um, so it is something
He
to
was on the ice for the golden goal in the
keep an eye
Four
on.
Nations. So
Yeah,
hopefully, he's able to come back. Hopefully the injury isn't too bad. We'll see if we get an update here soon, but nothing so far.
yeah. Do you want to start with the forwards or defensemen when talking about some of the picks here?
Let's talk about the forwards.
I'll kickstart it off here. First of all, love that Celebrini's on the team. As a Sharks fan, was even happier to find out when we talked at the beginning of December how about 75% of their team was already decided. Celebrini was already in at that point. Like he was
Yeah.
one of the initial guys they went with, and I think that's huge for him, for the team.
Did you hear the story about very large in part due to him being handpicked by Sidney Crosby for
Sidney
that
Crosby.
spot?
Yeah. Well, not to be on the team this year, to clear that up for the Olympic team, but the World Championship last year in like May or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, head
Crosby
coach at the
handpicked
time,
him.
Dean Evison, who just got fired, was the coach, and he asked Crosby, "Yeah, who you want to play with? Who who's your guy? And he picks Pellegrini. So I think that's
And
got to be huge for, an 18-year-old.
it sounds like
kid with
after the
confidence
tournament, he was saying that went well. Like,
yeah.
that was
So maybe,
as good as I
and
wanted.
that's kind of why I was saying, I said there's a chance could see a line of McKinnon, Crosby, and Celebrini together. I think that's a
wouldn't rule it out.
very realistic possibility. With the forwards, Anthony Cirelli.
How many
I'm not gonna
snubs do you see here? First of all,
snubs for the forwards.
yeah,
Two.
because for me it's one. I think there's definitely some guys that could have been there, but I think there's one.
It is
snub.
for sure two.
Okay, I have a guess on who your second one is. Obviously, my number one is Connor Bedard. I think he should have been on this team.
Absolutely.
His shot is nuts. He was top 5 in scoring when he went down injured. He's already back.
He did everything that was asked of him to improve his defensive game, his physicality, his aggressiveness, his tenacity. Yeah. Like, what more did he have to do?
Like, people are like, he can't play in a depth role. Maybe not as good as a Tom Wilson, but like, I don't think he's getting pushed around the same way people think he would if he had to play a third line role.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Bedard is one of your two.
Absolutely.
Who's your second?
I'll give you one guess. I think you know.
I'm going to go with Seth Jarvis.
Absolutely, Seth Jarvis. Yeah.
Okay. And I really like that because I think he's one of those guys that he's already been notified that he's on the list of guys. If there is an injury,
the reserve list or whatever,
he'll be one of the first guys called. We do know Sam Bennett is another guy who's been notified.
Travis Konechny.
I don't know.
Wyatt Johnston, and Mark Scheifele. So that's the thing, right? Is people are like, oh, they're in it, but it's like, yeah, but there's at least 5 of them that we know of for the forwards. So,
and those are the only ones we know.
If Point can't go, who are they calling? Did you say Sam Bennett?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sam Bennett. But here's my thing with the forwards. I won't dive into the defense yet, but you've got Cirelli. I'm not going to throw Hagel in there because Hagel has some great offensive game, and I think more so known. Well, actually, what would you say Hagel's more known for? His offensive or defensive? Not two-way, just if you had to pick one.
I mean, up until last season, it was defense, but I think now it's got to be offensive. Like
that's why I'm not including him here. Yeah, because I'm with you. So you've got Cirelli, you've got Horvat, you've got Stone, you've got Suzuki. So you kind of got 4 guys that are all expect to kind of do the same type of role type of thing, right? I didn't include Tom Wilson because Tom Wilson's just kind of the big guy to
You didn't include another guy I was kind of comparing Hagel to in my mind in the offense to defense kind of comparison, and that's Mitch Marner.
Yeah, but I feel like Mitch Marner, he's going to be in. They're going to put him in the top 6, though.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's I think it's good to not include him in there because it's similar to Hagel where they are good defensively. You could be in that conversation, but they're a cut above offensively to the point where they're going to be put in more offensive situations, most likely.
Yeah. Like, I think Bo Horvat's having a great year. Very, very good year. Very good offensively, good defensively. Same with Nick Suzuki. Cirelli doesn't have quite as high of an offensive ceiling as guys like Suzuki and Horvat, but I think a better defensive game. So all 3 of them, and I like all 3 of them, all think they deserve to be on the team. You're telling me you couldn't cut one of them for Connor Bedard, though?
I was going to say, I like all the picks in a vacuum.
I'll give Mark Stone a pass because he's a winger.
Sure. And
he's a veteran, so...
Veteran. Points per game this year is very impressive.
He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, like I love having Cirelli on the team. Dude, if I want Team Canada to win, Bedard over him, easy. It's not a question, man. Like, over any of the guys you just mentioned. Like, come on,
over any of them. And again, it's not to say these guys are bad players, but
he's also the future of Team Canada. Like,
yeah,
he might be their number 1 center next time they go to the Olympics. Like,
very good chance.
I don't know if I'd expect it, but
there's a chance.
One of those guys, we've known his name since he was 12 years old, and he's done nothing but exceed expectations.
One of the guys that actually earned the title of generational talent.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, because again, like it's not like I think, Nick Suzuki's a bad player, Bo Horvat, Cirelli, Stone. Like I think they're all very good players, but You're telling me you couldn't have cut one of those guys that are all kind of the same, expect to be the same type of player in this tournament for a guy like Connor Bedard, who is your future as a top.
That could be a
Like you
game.
had the
That could
potential
be
to
a
roll
game
the
breaker.
top.
He could be the
Yeah,
difference between gold and bronze.
absolutely. He sure was in the World Juniors for Canada. He's done it before. Again, Olympics different thing, but he's a much better player now. He's older, more mature. He's developed his game, become a more well-rounded player. I don't know what more Connor Bedard had to do to make this team. Quite frankly, nothing. Like I think it was just Canada made it clear we're not taking you. We like our guys. Doesn't matter what you
I
do.
think it was
We're not
literally
taking you.
be number 1 or 2 in the league in scoring.
Yeah,
I think he had to
outscore
be
Connor
first.
McDavid and Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Probably.
I think if he led the league in points, he's on the team. If I think he's second to McKinnon, he's on the team. At the time, McDavid was a bit below the other two. If it goes McKinnon, Celebrini, Bedard, by the time they pick the teams, I think he's too low down. They don't take him anymore. Like, I think he had to legitimately be one of the top 2 or bust in this
Yeah,
situation. And that's insane. Like, even
I
if
think
both
you
those
might be
guys are
right.
on the team, come on, you can't take the guy who's third. Like, man,
Absolutely.
dude's playing with
Um,
Teuvo Teravainen and freaking Bertuzzi, man.
yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah, so that's my biggest snub. You know, I would have liked to see Mark Scheifele get on the team, but again, in an offensive role, there are just better players than him.
similar to the Lane Hudson
Again,
thing we were talking about for Team USA.
yeah.
Just like very good offensively, but they've got that. And he's
When you
a
know
good bit
me,
weaker than the average player on defense.
yeah,
So it's
and you know me very well, and you know I'm probably the biggest Mark Scheifele fan that's not a true Winnipeg Jet fan. And even
definitely
I
up
can
there.
understand why he's not on the team. Why Johnston again, I understand it. I'd like to use even in the conversation. I think he'll be on future
Mhm.
teams, but again, in those offensive roles in the top, there are just better players as of right now. Sam Bennett, I guess they were between him and Tom Wilson. You could have brought both, but again, if you're gonna pick between Bennett and Wilson, I would have went Tom Wilson at the end of the day. So it makes sense. Says
Bigger
Jarvis, though, man. I
body,
mean,
better goal
fuck, like
scoring.
what? He's gonna be a 40 and 40 guy probably every year. He's one of the top defensive forwards in the league.
He
It's
plays
weird
a
that he's
rather
not
similar. He plays a
on
similar
it.
game to Point. So it at least makes me feel good that if Point is out for part or the whole tournament, I do think Seth
Jarvis will
Jarvis
be the
probably is the replacement for him because he fits. I think he fits wherever you had the lineups that you wanted. You take Point out, you put Jarvis in. I think that works. Like, I don't think you have
Mhm.
to shuffle lines at all.
Yeah,
Maybe a Wyatt Johnston could also work in a similar way. Um, but if Point's out and Sam Bennett's in, you're going to have to move some stuff around. They're not going to be the
yeah.
same lineups. If you put in Shifley, there's a good chance you'll have to move some stuff around depending how they had it. So
I don't think I mentioned Travis Konechny, but Konechny definitely earned his way onto the Four Nations. We both felt he deserved it at the time, but I feel like too many guys have just kind of passed him at this point. Where
yeah,
if he made it, it'd be for a good fourth line role. But again, guys have just kind of passed him at this point, so it's unfortunate. I love Travis Konechny, but again, there's only so many spots, and Canada's got a lot of good players, so there is always going to be good players left off, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they are a snub. Like for
yeah,
me, a snub is a Connor Bedard. I'm
exactly.
including Seth Jarvis, but maybe that's because maybe I'm just higher on Seth Jarvis than most people. I
I
know
would
you and
say
I are both on him, but
I don't even call
um,
that a snub, but I do think Seth Jarvis, other than Bedard, is the next guy that
is
I
the
would
next
want
guy.
on the team.
Yeah,
Um,
but like
yeah,
overall at the
like
Fords, I
Konechny,
can't complain too much with
38 points in 43 games on the Flyers, a plus 13 on a not fantastic Flyers team, a team that's
it's a
overachieved a
team
little
that's in a
bit.
playoff spot. They're in a playoff
So,
spot.
um, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't mind if he got notified that he's on the list of guys that might get a call as well.
Who's
But
that?
Travis Konechny,
Oh no, he
but
he is one of the guys.
he did get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he's on.
Perfect.
Yeah, from what I saw, he's on the list of the reserve
He's
players.
one of
That's
those.
what I'm saying. Though,
He's
there's
one
so
of
many
those guys
guys.
that
It's
makes
like,
it me just wonder why. And sure, call me a little biased because I hate the fucking guy, but I just don't see the team needing Sam Bennett. If Tom Wilson goes down and they replace him with Sam Bennett, I see why they would do that.
I get it.
I get
Absolutely.
why they would do that. But barring him,
If
anybody
Point, like
else,
say Point can't go, it doesn't make sense to replace him with Sam Bennett.
yeah.
It
And
makes sense to take a Seth Jarvis, a guy that is going to
yeah.
play the role that Point was probably going to play on the team.
And even if it's somebody else in that those depth roles where people start thinking maybe it's a Bennett coming in, like I would just rather Travis Konechny. He does a lot of the same things. He still plays like a bastard, but he just has a bit more of a drive on the forecheck and also a bit better of a scoring touch, which is obviously kind of goofy to say because one of them just won the Conn Smythe, but
That's true, man. That is true. Yeah,
you know,
that's the tough
Zach
part, right?
Hyman's
Is like,
also a 57 goal scorer, but is he though? You know,
yeah, I know a lot of Edmonton fans say, "Well, Zach Hyman got snubbed," and I do.
I
I'm so
get the
back and
argument,
forth
but it's
on it.
not a
I,
it's definitely not
I,
a snub.
yeah, like I get the argument because how many times did Chris Kunitz get to go to the big show with Sidney Crosby because they were line
Yeah,
mates and they worked together? Like I absolutely get it, but it's different times, different days and age. Like it's different.
yeah.
It's not like it used to be back then.
Well, who
There
who
was
played
so
better
many
with
better
Crosby
players.
on those top lines? Was it Kunitz or was it in 2012 when he played on a line with Iginla? I'm sure Kunitz didn't cost him anything, but it was a
Absolutely.
lot
Yeah.
better when he was playing with Jerome Iginla, right? With some of
Yeah.
the best Canada has to offer.
Yeah.
So
Like, would you rather see, a line that people throw out? Would you rather see McDavid with Celebrini and I think it was Marner? Might have even been Reinhardt. Or would you rather see McDavid
he played
with
with
Zach
Marner
Hyman
and
and
Point
Nugent
and
Hopkins?
Reinhardt a lot.
Yeah. Like, you want to see McDavid go out there and play with the best players in the world.
Yeah.
You can't have
Which
that
is
if
so
you're
too
bringing all
bad that
his
it's so too
boys.
bad McKinnon and Crosby are such good buddies because like nobody ever even entertains the idea of either of those two playing with McDavid. It it'd be sick to see. Obviously, it's
I
already
mean,
sick that we
we got
get
to see it on
McKinnon
we got to see it on the
Crosby,
power play,
but
and they connected for a great goal when their
it
first shift
first
together.
shot, yeah, first
Yeah,
90 seconds of the game of the first game of Four Nations, they take a penalty immediately. Freaking Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon in the net, and it's like,
in the net.
oh fuck, that
This is what they can do.
that what a great way to kick off that tournament. Immediately, we're like, look at that, our three best players just fucking owned you. Like that was,
Yeah,
you could feel
it
it
was
throughout
great.
Canada when that first game started. It was incredible.
Yeah. But we should move on to the defenseman here. Um,
One other thing before we move on. Update from 7 minutes ago. John Cooper on Braden Point says we avoided the worst case scenario. His season is not over, but at the time he is week to week.
week to week. Okay. So that
So
can mean anything.
season's not over, but season is obviously the NHL season going towards early April. Week to week, it that has it at about a 50-50.
Yeah.
Seems like for the Olympics, but I mean the way he went down, it's nice that there's a chance at all. So
Absolutely.
we'll keep an eye on that.
The defense, obviously, we knew Cale Makar was a lock on the team. Josh
Obviously.
Morrissey, Devon Taves were kind of the three that we knew they were going to be there.
Yeah.
Right. Drew Doughty, I'm fine with. He is a veteran blue liner. He actually, I thought his game started to round out near the end of the Four Nations. The beginning was a little bit rough. And you do need some defensemen that have a little bit of tenacity and some grit that, like, if a guy's in there, if the Kachucks run your goalie, Cale Makar's not going to do shit. Josh Morrissey probably not going to do shit. Devon Taves, Shea Theodore. Like, you kind of do need your Drew Doughties, your Colton Paraycos, your Sandheims that will have that.
So are they going to go fight though? Because there's not
No,
fighting.
there's no fighting, but well, I mean there is no fight, but like you could just keep pushing the guy and slamming the boards or something. You don't have to drop the mitts, but
I'll
kind of need.
I'll be on the other side of it then, because I think if Brady Tkachuk goes in there and runs into Logan Thompson, I would be mad at Cale Makar if he didn't go in there. he doesn't have to drop the gloves and fight, but he should at the very least be grabbing one of the 5 guys on the other team. Everyone grabs their dance partner. He shouldn't be going after Kachuk himself. But
That's what I'm saying. Is you
he
kind of
should
need
run in there and
those
fucking be
guys that,
shoving. He should be
Mhm.
throwing shoves in people's faces.
And maybe he will. But what I'm saying is, you kind of need those defensemen that it doesn't matter who it is. They just see a jersey that's not theirs and like, I don't care who it is. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
what you get from a Drew Doughty and Colton Parayko, which is why
Right.
I had them on the team. For me on the defense, again, Jacob Chikrin, I'm shocked he
I think
didn't get
he
named to the
probably
team.
should have been on the team over Thomas
He-
Harley. I love Thomas Harley's game, but
See, I
he has-
would have kept Harley. I would have probably taken maybe Chikrin over Sanheim. Maybe could have done
Yeah.
Harley.
I would have Chikrin over Sanheim, I think. I also would have had Schaefer. If you're doing that, I'd also trade in for Schaefer over Harley.
Yeah, I'd probably do Schaefer and Chikrin for Harley and Sanheim.
Yeah.
Evan Bouchard, I was back and forth on, and
At the end of the day, he can't be trusted. He can't be trusted.
Yeah,
I saw
that's the
some
thing, right,
really
is
bad muffins he gave up in the Stanley Cup final. If he's willing to do in the Stanley Cup final, he's willing to do it in a gold medal game.
And that's my thing, is I don't think he's as bad defensively as a lot of people claim. He's like, I think he still can be a good defenseman in his own end. We already know how good he is in the offensive zone. We don't need to go into that. But if you're in the gold medal game and it's a tied game like it was in the Four Nations, do you run the risk of Evan Bouchard going behind his net and throwing a muffin out to Austin Matthews to pot it, and that's the game winner? No,
And you know what?
You can't afford that.
You can rotate guys.
That's
So
what it
maybe I
comes
guess
down
the
to.
argument could be they should have brought Bouchard and just cycle him
Sat
in
him in
through
the
some
big
games
games.
in the
And
tournament.
Absolutely.
And once you get to the elimination
could have done
games,
that.
maybe you don't. But
Absolutely, that's definitely a road they could have taken. Overall, I'm okay with the defense and that they went with, because again, the defense was good for Canada and Four Nations. It didn't hurt them. A lot of people say, "Oh, Sanheim and Doughty shouldn't be there." Only 6 defensemen play anyways, so 2 guys out of this group aren't going to be playing, and it's not going to be Makar that's sitting. It's not going to
Doughty's
be
definitely
Taves if
not
he
playing
goes.
every game.
It's not going to be
gotta be getting
Morrissey.
rest.
Yeah, and if Devon Taves doesn't go, there's a very good chance that Matthew Schaefer gets that spot.
I don't want to wish it's not wishing bad.
You're not even wishing
because it's
for
not
an
injury.
injury,
It
wants to be
wouldn't be.
present
I
for the
wouldn't be
birth of
wishing
his child.
injury on Taves. Obviously, it would be. If he doesn't go, it's because his kid hasn't arrived yet. But I know that we all pencil in Taves, Makar to be the top pair because they work well together. But you could have. What if Makar could play like that with anybody? What if he could play better with somebody better? Dude, the chance of him and Schaefer just exploding and being the best defensive pairing we've ever seen in hockey ever, it's real. Obviously the pairing they have works, but Devon Taves doesn't put up many points. He plays the good defense and helps facilitate Makar's game.
100%.
But what if both guys on that top pair could be looking like 95-point guys, and they play good defensively, and maybe they don't have to. Maybe they just always have the puck. It'd be nice to see. It'd be interesting to at least see him give it a try for a couple games against, Team France, right?
Yeah. No,
or
I'm
even just
I'm
in the practices.
100% with you. Again, I thought Chikrin should be on the team. Schaefer should be on the team, but I can't say that they were snubbed.
Yeah, completely.
Because again,
I'd like them
I
on
see
there,
the
but they're
vision
not
of
snubs.
how Canada's building their blue line, and again, it did work.
We've literally seen it work. Same reason Binnington's going. We've seen it work. Yeah.
So I can't really diss on the blue line too much, but again, I'd like to see Connor Bedard on the team. I'd like to see Seth Jarvis on the team. Would like to see Chikrin and Schaefer on the team, and there's a good chance that one of them probably ends up finding their way onto the team before the tournament starts. Same with the Americans and Robertson and Fox. Well, I'm actually probably not Robertson. Maybe Fox. Maybe he finds his way onto the team.
We'll see.
But overall, I think a lot of these countries, including the ones we didn't cover on, because again, we knew exactly who was going to be going from the NHL because, you know, it's very obvious, right? I think a lot of these countries did a good job, though, for the most part, in terms of their roster constructions. Very similar styles. They're trying to build them to compete with each other, not just we have the most talent. Because again, as we've seen, sometimes just stacking your lines with the most talent doesn't always translate, because at the end of the day, it's about coaching as well. It's about line matching. It's about winning the special teams battles and holding on to a lead when you've got a 1-goal lead type of thing, right? There's so many things that go into it now that these teams are building it to compete with each other and to match up with each other. And I think that's going to make it very exciting and a lot of interesting line matchups throughout a lot of these games. So I'm looking forward to it.
I think it really helps that I think Canada especially has done this, but I think most countries are starting to as well. The GMs make the decision on the rosters, but I think the head coaches are getting a lot more say, especially in those bottom 6 guys, those fringe players, because the whole thing with that, like you were saying, the GMs don't exactly know what the lineup's going to be, but that Coop will find something to do with McDavid, McKinnon. You don't have to vet those picks with him. But those depth picks, like Sorelli, if it's a different head coach, Sorelli's probably not on this team. But John Cooper already has a vision in his head of what that bottom 6 is going to look like, and it includes Sorelli. And so that's why he gets brought. I think that's a big difference of how they're constructing these teams now versus back in 2005 when they didn't bring Crosby. And, they're like, we needed depth guys. We needed guys who played a different role on the team. And it's like, okay, but I don't think back then they were also conveying in tandem with the coach that who that replacement player was and what they were doing with these extra guys. So I think
100%.
in a lot of those ways, a lot of these teams are doing better. Just the coach and the GM talking more than they used to in the selection phase.
Most definitely. But we're at that point now. We are at the end of the episode here. Unfortunately, there is no fun game today. We this one already went on long enough. We won't keep you guys here too much longer.
Good to be back.
But we are at the end of the episode. Yes, our first one of the new year. Happy to be back. We are back to our usual schedule now here in 2026. Every Tuesday, every Friday, we'll be new episodes out. Occasional special episodes over on YouTube, so you can make sure to check that out. And any of our socials, there are linked down below.
Especially during the Olympics. For that.
Especially during the Olympics.
Going to be doing some.
Braden, it's been a bit of a long one. I know you're still recovering, but you powered through it, and I applaud you for that. But before we get out of here, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Hopefully they get all of the ice finished in time. It looks like they will, but they're still doing tests on it. And in less than 3 weeks, the women are going to be starting the Olympic Games on that ice. And hopefully they get everything done in time. Hopefully, if there are any injuries and guys do need to be replaced on these teams, that teams make the right decisions in who the replacement players are. We'll see if a Connor Bedard gets brought after all. Like, if it's not Seth Jarvis replacing Point, if he can't make it, how many, points probably not on the penalty kill. If he's not in the bottom 6, if you only have him on power play and top 2 lines, why not Bedard? So you should be on their radar, and we'll see from here how the teams change going into the Olympic break.
100%. I'm right there with you. But that is it for this episode one final time. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice later this week.